Good evening and welcome to the council meeting. We would like to begin this meeting of council by acknowledging that we are on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation of the Mississauga Nation. May we respectfully share in the responsibility of the stewardship and environmental protection of these ancestral lands. I would ask you to now join me, please, in a moment of reflection. May we always be respectful of the responsibility of public office. May we accurately discern what is the public good in our diverse community. May we work diligently in the best interests of our residents. And may we make wise decisions for the betterment of our town. Now I'd ask all that are able, if you can please remain standing. Our legions are going to perform the Remembrance Day service, so if you could remain standing if you're able throughout the service, that would be appreciated.
Party. Halt. Left. Turn.
We will now start our remembrance service. We will have 2 minutes of silence. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor do your days condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Mayor Mitchell will now attend the dais to receive information from both Legion presidents on the Brooklyn and Whitby Legion branches Remembrance Day services.
And I'm wondering, since we happen to have our regional chair with us tonight, could you join us on the dais, Chairman Henry? We don't get him in the building that often. So
Doesn't get his own building that often.
we are so fortunate to have two wonderful legions in our town. So I know you're both going to have Remembrance celebrations, so I wonder if you could give us the details.
At the Whitby branch, the parade forms up about 10:15. We take off at 10:30. We get to the Cenotaph, which is like 5 minutes. And we start laying the wreaths. And at 11 o'clock, we stop and do our service. Then we finish. We go back to the branch. Now at 1 o'clock, myself, the Padre, and some of our color party attend at Fairview Lodge. Then at 2 o'clock, we attend at the Colonial. At 5 o'clock is cocktails and 6 o'clock is dinner.
Excellent.
Thank you, Mayor Mitchell. Chair Henry. The Brooklyn branch of the Royal Canadian Legion 152 at 56 Baldwin, we hold our Remembrance service 2 hours later in order to accommodate the attendance and participation of 11 schools that we've invited this year. And we invite folks to participate, to attend the service. The parade will start at 10:45 from the branch, proceed west on Campbell into Vipond, and end up at our new Brooklyn Cenotaph, which is located at 8 Vipond Road. Service will start at 1 o'clock on the 11th. While I have the floor, Mr. Mayor, I also wish to take this opportunity to extend thank you to many departments in the town of Whitby that have helped the Brooklyn branch create that new Cenotaph. So thank you to Park and Rec staff and operations staff and the 14 other departments that sign off on our permits. Thank you all. I won't name each one, but our heartfelt thanks from the Brooklyn Legion to all those folks that have helped us to make that Cenotaph happen, and as well, and particularly so to our Mayor Mitchell and Town Council. Thank you so much for all the support to make that happen. It will be something to remember for forever, I think. So, thank you.
Yes, this will be the first at the new Cenotaph, so that's very exciting, and I just want to thank you for not only what you do at Remembrance Day, but in both branches around the year. And Chair Henry, do you have a couple?
It'll be an honor to join you at both events.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, Mayor Mitchell. Chair Henry.
Sergeant at Arms,
Council.
prepare to march off the colors.
Picture first.
Picture first.
Parade, attention. Left wheel by the right, quick march.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you all so much. You may be seated. Call of the roll, Mr. Clerk.
Your Worship, I can certify the attendance of all members of council, save except Councillor Roy.
Thank you. Any declarations of interest? I will declare on the special council meeting on the 21st relating to the hospital, which I did not attend. Again, this is an ongoing declaration relating to the location relative to a property I have an interest in. All right, motion on the minutes, Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that we adopt the minutes from the regular council meeting on September 23rd, 2019, the special council meeting September 27th, 2019, the special council meeting September 30th, 2019, the special council meeting October 7th, 2019, and the special council meeting of October 21st, 2019.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Newman. Any polls? If not, all in favor? Thank you very much. Presentations, Mr. Clerk.
Your Worship, Council will now recognize Eniola Aloye as the 2019 Whippy Junior Fire Chief. If I could have Eniola join Chief Dave Speed, Councillor Yamada, and Mayor Mitchell on the dais at this time.
Eniola, good to see you again.
Congratulations.
Yamada. Chief. Worship. So this is a great event we have every year where we get someone to serve as our ambassador in many ways, but particularly fire protection. So many of us, again, were with you when you started your day, so perhaps you and the chief could tell us how it's going so far.
I think it's going great. And I'm really excited. And I think that everyone, like all my friends and my family are excited for me. And I keep on getting a bunch of questions.
Well, they were certainly excited that day.
Absolutely.
Chief, do you want to describe the program?
Eniola is a great ambassador for our community, for fire safety and safety in general, actually. She was selected amongst all of our campers this summer, about 240 campers. And we were looking for attributes that would help her to be successful in this role, such as leadership, confidence, the ability to speak in front of people, knowledge of the subject, caring for people. So she checked off all the boxes and was a very clear choice for us. So we're very pleased to have her join us. And it's not just fire chief for a day like it used to be, it's fire chief for a year. So throughout the coming year, she's going to be attending with myself and others different events throughout the town promoting fire safety in our community. And she's off to a great start already.
Wonderful. So we have a certificate here. Maybe I could get Councillor Yamada to read it and any other comments.
Congratulations. This certificate is presented to Eniola in recognition of being the 2019 Junior Fire Chief. On behalf of the members of council and the residents of the town of Whitby, it's my pleasure to extend congratulations to Eniola in recognition of you being chosen as this year's Junior Fire Chief. It was wonderful to hear that you impressed Whitby Fire and Emergency Services with your efforts during Junior Firefighter Summer Camp. All the best as you celebrate this recognition and all the exciting activities you have and will experience while the 2019 Junior Fire Chief, dated this 28th day of October 2019. So congratulations, this is a tremendous opportunity, and the work that you're going to be doing, the people that you're going to get to meet, and the opportunity to talk about fire safety within our community, which is of utmost importance. I also want to say thank you to Canadian Tire, to McDonald's, who supported this tremendous program, and we look forward to working with you this year. And I'm just wondering, one of the questions you're getting is it when Chief Speed's retiring?
Oh, a few years yet.
But congratulations.
Thank you.
So everybody on council has been to a number of the junior firefighter camps. Some of us have been to quite a few of them. And there are a lot of really talented, really excited, really great kids doing that. So to be at the top of that list is a real accomplishment. So Maybe we'll give you this ribbon, this memo. You have to take your hat off. And then if I could invite other members of council to come up here, maybe we'll get a group. This is your certificate.
Thank you.
With Eniola. Just move forward a little bit. There. Get everybody in. They're tightening it up here.
Sure.
Okay.
The short.
Okay, well, enjoy your time, and we look forward to seeing you. Wonderful, great stuff. Presentations, Mr. Clerk.
Your Worship, Council will now receive the annual address to Whitby Council by Regional Chair and CEO John Henry. Chair Henry, you're in the audience. You may approach the delegation table at this time.
Welcome.
Thank you. What a wonderful way to start an evening. To Mayor Mitchell, members of council, to staff, to chief, and to the residents here tonight. I'm pleased to be here for the first time. And I want to thank the members of Regional Council for the great work that they do just next door. But Mayor Mitchell, I want to thank you as the Chair of Works for the great work that you've done. And we'll talk a little bit about what's happening in the region as we go forward. And for my colleagues, they all know that we deliver an incredible range of programs and services and projects. And this evening, I'm going to highlight just a few. Some of our key initiatives, examples of innovative work and creative partnerships being led by the region. Regional Council is working to renew its Durham Region Strategic Plan for 2020 and out to 2024. And this is incredibly exciting because it's outside of the term of this council. It's going to take us to that next level, and it's been a great project. And our staff have been working from June to September. They have consulted with the public through an online survey, pop-up events, stakeholder sessions, and town hall meetings. Our target is to have the new strategic plan that reflects the residents' input ready by January of 2020. Another major project underway is the comprehensive review of the region's official land use plan. Discussion papers on topics like transportation and urban growth have been released on the Envision Durham website for public consideration. We want your ideas on how the region should look and function in the future. The intent is to complete this survey and review by 2022. And this is challenging because staff are also analyzing and responding to the recent revisions of the development charges regime and the provincial policy statement. Other changes and budget cuts announced by the province have also caused uncertainty for municipalities. The cuts to childcare and public health and the redesign of our healthcare system, which affects paramedic services and long-term care, leaves us with many unanswered questions. And the decision to reconsider the route of Bowmanville GO rail extension has also been a bit of a challenge, but we are making progress. For years, the provincial growth plan and our regional and local official plans included urban development around 4 new stations on the CP route on the north side of the 401. This route is projected to create 21,000 jobs, 7.8 million square feet of commercial space in Durham. The other options may be cheaper to build, but they don't provide a comparable value for the region by supporting job creation, campus connectivity, downtown revitalization, or walkable stations. Now, we continue to meet with Metrolinx and urge our MPPs and provincial officials to put the trains where the people are. It's been a true team effort by the region, by the mayors and staff of Clarington, Oshawa, and Whippy. Our Board of Trades, our post-secondary institutions, the development community have also lent their support. And we are winning. So we have gotten the message about the uplift provided on the north side of the 401, and we're working with Metrolinx as we speak to deliver those 4 stations on the north side of the 401. Transit demand in Durham is growing. Ridership on the Pulse route is now over 2.2 million riders, and in the last 4 years has grown by 22%. We've also applied for the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. It's referred to as the ICIP funding to expand our public transit infrastructure. The program leverages investment from the federal government, 40%, provincial government, 33%, and the municipal government at 27%. In Durham, our total should be around $238 million. This will help us complete Highway 2 bus rapid transit in dedicated lanes across the region and extend rapid transit up Simcoe Street. Projects have been submitted and should be completed by 2027. And as councillors, we often hear from citizens about road safety, and last spring the region launched Vision Zero, an innovative way to reduce road fatalities and injuries by 10% over the next 5 years. Municipalities, police, and drivers can all play a role in reducing collisions. And to support the enforcement, we will be installing red light cameras at 12 locations and automated speed enforcement at 22 locations across the region, including some here in Whippy. In 2019, we will invest over $400 million to build and maintain regional assets and infrastructure now valued at $14.5 billion. Our 2019 capital program includes $183 million for sanitary sewers, $114 million for water supply, $94.5 million for roads, $5.6 million for both transit and paramedic services. When the region replaces water mains and sewers, we strive to coordinate the work with area municipal plans for road rehabilitation. And this year, we are working with Whitby to invest $2.6 million in water and sewer replacement on Centre Street from Miller Street to Dunlop. It was also a busy summer for road widenings, and at Winchester and Thixon, we worked closely with the town staff to coordinate and complete work on this $8.7 million project. Brach Street from Rosland to Totten is another major widening underway. It's challenging to divert traffic into new lanes on one side while you excavate and build water and sewer lines and widen right beside them. With a total project budget of $14 million, all work should be completed by the fall of 2020. We're also making great progress on the extension of Consumers Drive, called Stellar Drive. All the storm sewers and other services and intersection work is completed. It should be paved and opened by the end of the year. When we construct or update infrastructure designed to be resilient in the face of climate change is now more vital than ever. The Durham Community Climate Adaptation Plan assesses our risks and provides the region and area municipalities with a blueprint for responding. Sizing culverts and storm sewers to manage more frequent and severe flooding events is one example. The region and area municipalities and our local energy utilities have also worked together to create the Durham Community Energy Plan. This plan charts a path towards our low-carbon future while attracting investment, reducing costs, and creating thousands of jobs. Electrifying transportation is one key goal of the plan. And to begin moving the yardstick, the region has installed publicly accessible electric vehicle chargers at headquarters. And working with several of the municipalities, we have applied for federal funding to install more than 60 EV charging stations across Durham. To succeed, these plans need partners to take a collaborative and independent action to reach our climate change goals. We're glad that Whitby is moving ahead with projects on both mitigation and adaptation. And at the region, we are seeking funding from FCM to help us implement a household deep energy retrofit program to reduce emissions and save heating costs for Durham residents. The region is also innovating through partnerships and human services to make a difference in people's lives. Last year, we piloted the primary care outreach program in Oshawa's priority neighborhoods with great results. And by teaming up an advanced care paramedic with social worker, we are taking services to the most vulnerable populations, such as those who have addictions or facing homelessness. And by reaching out with basic health care and mental health supports, the team builds trust and refers clients to other community supports offered by our partners. Regional Council made that program permanent and region-wide in 2019. Another good example is the Canada Learning Bonds Initiative. The region is partnering with public libraries, school boards, municipalities, and banks to help low-income families receive the $2,000 per child that they are entitled to. In November, at 8 events across the region, families can get help with the paperwork to apply for the bond, set up the RESP to hold the grant. Knocking down barriers to this grant changes the conversation about post-secondary education for these families. It changes lives. Creating more jobs in Durham is a top priority for the region, and that's why we're seeking federal discussion on the GTA East Airport. We're also moving ahead with regional broadband strategy, and as soon as possible, we will be meeting with our new MPs and our re-elected MPs to convey the region's key priorities. And over the summer, we held productive discussions with area municipal staff about servicing of employment lands. Our goal is to unlock the economic development and job creation potential that we know exists in Durham. And of course, removing the tolls from the 412 and no tolls on the 418 would help. This presentation covers some of the highlights, but I'm happy to take questions on regional matters. But before I conclude, I want to talk to you about 2 projects our teams have done. One is the Community Justice Hub that takes paralegal students from Durham College who need 120 hours of community service, partnering with the Durham Legal Clinic, giving the students the opportunity to get those hours, but also giving representation to those who are in most need, who could never afford to have legal representation. And recently we launched the Center for Financial Literacy, along with partnerships at the Durham Legal Clinic. This is a program that staff had started within the region to get those who are in need the help of finding social insurance numbers and getting their income taxes done. There is all kinds of money in the system to help people, but you have to get your income tax done. And by doing this, we are helping more people today than we ever have before. So, Your Worship, I want to thank you for the great work you've done leading Works Department. You can see a substantial amount of that is being invested in Whippy. And now, with your permission, I will take questions if there are any.
Thank you very much. Don't go too heavy on this leading the Works Department until they finish Brock Street. Councillor Newman.
Thank you, Mayor Mitchell. Chair Henry, with respect to economic development, following delegations by the region at AMO in the summer, what action will the region be taking to generate jobs locally by reaching out nationally and globally? You've mentioned a few initiatives, but I wondered about if there are areas that the region is specifically focusing on to create jobs at present for youth and others.
Well, I'm excited because we're in a time of harvest season right now where our largest employer within the region is agriculture. Where over 18,000 people work in either cash crops or livestock or agri-related businesses, and continuing to promote the great growth that we have. And that opportunity in the field of farming is simply amazing. And you know, as the world changes, opportunities will change in that farming world. So when you read the newspapers lately, you hear them talking about large vertical growing operations where they will grow food in the future. But today in Durham, in Port Perry, we have one mushroom farm that sends 350,000 pounds of mushrooms to market every week. When the addition is finished, they will send 500,000 pounds of mushrooms a week to market, and they employ over 300 people. We have lots of greenhouse operations. And when you build greenhouses, and it's when we talk about the airport lands in Pickering, I absolutely agree the land should be farmed, but 10 years from today, we will be farming much differently than when we are today. And that's why I'm excited about looking at our strategic plan outside of a council term. So when you talk about job creation, and there's great things happening in Durham, from Kubota and Pickering to Toyota and Clarington, you can look at Gordon Foods in Ajax, and when you look at simply what's going on with the rail yards here at GO in Whippy, there are exciting opportunities each and every day. One is, for the first time, we are on the radar of almost every major corporation in Canada, where they've heard about the challenges of the loss of jobs at General Motors, but at the same time, those companies that have heard all the great things in the talent pool we have are coming here. So it wasn't that long ago we entertained a group of people from Germany who use extrusion equipment to make make parts for Airbus. You know, and the 5th largest business in Canada is the aerospace industry. So when you look at the Pickering Airport lands and allowing companies like Mitsubishi and Bombardier and companies that are in that field to come out here and build aircraft in Durham, where you have the most talented group of young people graduating from schools, and taking that pressure off of Pearson makes sense. And we can look at simply the initiatives behind greening, and we talk about that all the time, but Durham College leads in artificial intelligence. They have ground source heating, solar, and they've got all these great programs providing jobs and trades. What would really help is if the province opened up more jobs within the college system to allow people to get trades. We're at an unemployment rate of 5%, and the challenge that we're having is finding skilled workers to even build what we need. So we have a lot of great things, and the region is working with every municipality to try to find an opportunity to maximize hope. And hope is a job that pays a living wage. And we are, I'm proud to say, in Durham being recognized, we are the next provincial growth center, and they talk about it that way at Queen's Park. So it's a long answer to your question, but I can tell you that each one of you, in what you do each and every day to advance your community in the region, are sending that message that we are open for business.
Other questions? Okay, thank you. Seeing none, thank you for being here, Chair Henry. Good news about the regional review. That's great. I think we're working together well, and we all have lots enough to do without being distracted by governance changes that will really not, in my view, benefit our residents in any way. I want to say I appreciate your support. We appreciate your support on the 412 tolls and also on the Brooklyn bypass. That's moved into the EA, and we appreciate that. I think we're going to need your support on the DRT Metrolinx issue of moving through Dundas Street, because you have a big focus on downtowns as we do, so we have to find a solution to that that'll work for everyone and support the pedestrian focus that we have right now. But so that's great, and we're glad you're here. And I guess just as a closing note, I want to say that you followed Chair Anderson, who was certainly had a great success as regional chair, had his own style and his own brand, was very successful, but you have your own style and own brand. I like the way Region Council feels now. It's a positive place, a collegiate place. I think we're working well together, and I think you deserve a lot of the credit for that. So it's been a good first year, and I look forward to the next 3.
Thank you, Worship. Have a wonderful evening, everybody.
Mr. Clerk.
Your Worship, there is a request from the applicant's representatives to defer the delegation in consideration of item 9.1 regarding the Optilinks application from one meeting cycle due to the applicant being unable to attend this evening due to a matter of personal concern. In members of Council's green folders, there is a deferral motion to that effect.
So the request is to defer this matter to the next council cycle. And I believe an email went out to members of council with the background?
Correct, Your Worship. We have received an email from the applicant's representative.
Okay. So can I have a mover on this application? Councillor Mulcahy, Councillor Shahid. Any questions then on 9.1? All in favor? So that will just come back to us at the next council meeting. Now, we are moving on to no correspondence, Mr. Clerk. Then the Planning Committee of the Whole, and I would turn to Vice Chair Lee. As Vice of Planning. I'm sorry?
Your Worship, there is no correspondence?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So is there anything else expected, or?
No, it's just
Okay, thank
do
you.
nothing. So now we're on item 6, and I'm asking for a motion from the Vice Chair of Planning, Councillor Lee.
Could I get a motion for?
You should, Council.
I apologize, Your Worship.
Yeah. So you should be moving the recommendations.
Yeah, I would like to move all recommendations, 6.1 through to, sorry, Your Worship, I apologize, 6.7.
Seconded by Councillor Newman. Okay, thank you. Any polls? Councillor Alexander.
Yes, Your Worship. I'd like to pull 6.1 and 6.2, and I believe 6.7. Thank you.
Any other polls? Councillor Newman?
6.3 and 6.5, please, Your Worship.
Any others? If not, on the two remaining, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Alexander, 6.1.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. 6.1, I had spoke to this in our last meeting in terms of the report planning 81-19, the development 11-18, and it is the subdivision application from Sabrina Homes, 414 Mary Street East, and the vacant land at Hickory Street North. And I realize that the 48 parking spaces does conform to our bylaw of 1.25 spaces per unit. I am concerned, however, with regards to the fact that we have already a proposed development going in at 500 Castleview Homes, and there is already concerns with traffic and speeding along Mary Street, and the possibility of congestion becoming an issue down the road. So I personally will not be able to support this this proposal. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? If Councillor Leahy?
Thank you, Mayor Mitchell. Just further to Councillor Alexander's concerns there, is there any plans to adjust the oh, sorry, right. I keep forgetting we've had too many committee meetings lately. Is there any concerns to challenges to adjust the parking rate to a lesser amount permanently? Because I know the recommendation on this particular one is to have lesser parking spots, but that's not our standard. Is there any chance that we're going to do that permanently, or is there going to be a case-by-case basis, just to try and understand the concerns that Councillor Alexander's picking up?
Commissioner Saunders?
Through you, Mayor Mitchell, to Councillor Leahy. This proposal, in fact, does comply with the zoning requirements. So it is providing the number of parking spaces that are required by the bylaw. There's no need to consider a lesser number for this proposal.
Okay, all right. So then I guess I go back. So on Councillor Alexander, the parking is that it's still not enough with what's proposed under the zoning bylaw. I guess that's my question.
Well, it's meeting our standards. I think if we want to change our standards, that's one thing, but if people meet our standards, we usually, that's usually okay.
Usually okay, so, yeah. Okay, fair enough. That's why I just wanted to better understand that. Thank you.
Councillor Newman.
Mayor Mitchell, in my review, there was a request for a zoning bylaw amendment to permit 38 rather than 40. It's not a material number, but it is less than what was required, as best I understood it. Is that correct, Commissioner Saunders?
Through you, Mayor Mitchell, the change was, the original proposal was for 40 units, and the revised proposal is for 38 residential units. Now, for 38 residential units, they're providing 48 parking spaces. So there is no conflict.
Okay. Nothing further. Councillor Yamada.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to Commissioner of Planning, I know at the committee meeting there was some dialogue between the developer and staff in terms of how the developer would reach out to the community and sort of have discussions. I know one of the issues surrounded construction and the vibration within the construction to sort of have a pre and post inspection. Can you shed a little bit of light on the conversations that hopefully have taken place since the committee meeting and where we're at? Thank you.
Through you, Mayor Mitchell, to Councillor Yamada. Yes, it was strongly encouraged to the proponent that they reach out to the neighboring resident to resolve some of the concerns that they had. In particular, there was discussion about the proponent undertaking some monitoring of the foundation at 420 Mary Street, pre and post. Now, we've been informed today that those conversations have taken place and that the proponent is prepared to do so and prepared to enter into an agreement with the owner at 420 in order to undertake that exercise. They've also had discussions around such things as fencing and berming or plantings on the adjacent property line. So those are issues that are property owner to property owner, as we had indicated at the committee of the whole meeting. But yes, those conversations haven't taken place, and as far as we are aware, to the satisfaction of the neighboring resident. Commitments have been made.
That's good. And I know, listening to the dialogue from the residents that did show up, trying to save as many trees as we possibly can is always an issue, especially when there's some older trees on that property. And are we going to look at what is the developer going to look at how we can try? I know grading and things like that will come into play. I've been through this exercise before, but as long as we can try to save as many of those older trees as we possibly can within reason.
Through you, Mayor Mitchell, yes. That's always a consideration when we get to the site plan stage. We haven't gotten there yet, but it will be something that we look at as we go forward.
Thank you.
Okay, nothing further. All in favor? And opposed? And that's carried. 6.2, Councillor Alexander.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to address once again, and I do support the proposal, the development. I'm not against this. I think it's great. I think the downtown needs to have this. Station 3 has been kind of like the manna from heaven for everybody concerned. And of course, were I to be a musical composer, I guess I would write something called Joanne's Lament, because again, I just am very passionate about the loss of parking spaces, and I understand that the proponent has taken a look at it and that they are going to address it. And I see that Public Works, our last committee of the whole meeting, I was commenting on item 4 and looking forward to it, because that parking would be looked at very seriously by Public Works before it would be approved. And I can support this. I know it's good for the community, and I think I can support it moving forward, because I know we will be looking at a parking structure at some point in time. And I just wanted to make that known. Thank you very much.
Councillor Newman.
Thank you, Mayor Mitchell. I did notice that in our materials there was a memo from Public Works which is dated October 23rd, which addressed the issue of parking spaces, and the applicant had provided further clarification and indicated that there would be 160 residential parking spaces plus 24 visitor parking spaces for a total of 184 parking spaces for this development, as well as with respect to the commercial parking spaces, cash in lieu was proposed. And in addition, there was the creative opportunity of what the applicant described as transportation demand management opportunities, where they would look at 3 options. One, unbundled parking options, which involves an option to purchase or not the parking space on the part of the resident, car share services, and shared private shuttle services, as well as opportunities for the residents. So I just wanted to ask staff to confirm the content of that memo from Public Works as a further clarification following our Committee of the Whole meeting. Thank you.
Sorry, so staff have given us a memo. What are you asking them?
For clarification, I noticed Commissioner Beall is not here. The memo was for Commissioner Beall, so I'm presuming that represents the status. This memo was included in our correspondence.
You're asking Ms. Panchot if the department is satisfied with the parking solution?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship.
Through Mayor Mitchell to Councillor Newman. Public Works is satisfied with the additional information provided by the applicant as outlined in the memo.
Okay. Anything further, Councillor Leahy?
Further to my question earlier, I guess again, so this one, again, on page 7 of the report outlines that there is, it's one, we're doing one spot per unit versus 1.25 in the parking bylaw. Are we looking to, on these particular types of projects, to reduce the parking requirement? Or is, again, this is a case-by-case basis where we're going to look at each time and then make adjustments as we go? Through you, Mayor Mitchell, to staff.
Through you, Mayor Mitchell. Yes, people refer to the parking bylaw, but it's really the comprehensive zoning bylaw has a chapter in it or a section that relates to parking. Parking issues will be reviewed yet again through the broader comprehensive review of the zoning bylaw. I don't want to, some of the options that may come to be through the ultimate amendment is that, for instance, there may be different rates for the downtown Whitby area than elsewhere in the town. That's an option.
Yeah.
The general application of rates overall will be considered as well. So it will be thoroughly looked at through the comprehensive review of the zoning bylaw.
Okay, no, and that's helpful.
So I guess in the meantime, we will continue to have to look at proposals that are different than the standard on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, no, just validating, because you always hear, I know the downtown challenge, we have lots of parking, you just have to walk a bit far. You hear from some of the businesses, we don't have enough parking. We have an application to put down there. It's a question about the parking, so it's just good to validate those pieces because it does come back as a frequent issue from local businesses and local residents, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Councillor Alexander?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. To, I would guess, Commissioner Saunders. This item before us, the memorandum, so when it's been dealt with tonight, will it once again come before council at a later date, or this will be it? The terms that have been accepted in terms of adequate for Public Works?
Through you, Mayor Mitchell. Ultimately, the zoning bylaw that comes before council will reflect the number of parking spaces that have been recognized in the memo. The memo is considered supplementary to the staff report and addresses item number 4, recommendation 4, which speaks to the satisfaction of the Public Works as it relates to that matter. So again, the zoning bylaw will reflect this outcome. And the zoning bylaw, as all bylaws do, will come forward to council at a period down the road.
Thank you very much for that clarification.
Councillor Newman.
Mayor Mitchell, I wanted to emphasize my support for the Brookfield development, notwithstanding the discussion about parking. And as I indicated earlier, I think this is exactly the kind of development that will bring people into the downtown and will support the existing businesses in the downtown area, and it's vital for our downtown. So in spite of the discussion around the parking, I think significant efforts have been made both in a traditional way and in a creative way to address the issue. And so I thank the staff for their efforts with the applicant.
Okay, thank you. I'll ask for a recorded vote on this because this is a very, very significant item and a very very good day for downtown Whippy that this is here. And it is a great proposal, and it will complement the great proposal across the street at Brach Street. And the reason they're great proposals is because they're focusing on the building and not on surface parking. And I cannot repeat that enough. This, if we're doing anything in the downtown, we have to keep shrinking surface parking. We have to focus on the quality of the building, and we have to make it that's what makes it a destination. That's what makes it a great downtown. And that connection is absolutely crystal clear. And we've seen multiple members of council talk about parking. And again, I'm not trying to chide, but I really wish you'd look at this in a serious way and get it in your mind that it has to be, if we keep bringing this up, we are just going to make the product inferior going forward. We're looking for temporary solutions. And as everyone knows, if you want to walk 5 minutes in downtown Whitby, you can park for free, walk 5 minutes to get anywhere. And we all know that. So there is actually no parking problem in downtown Whitby right now. We're looking for solutions. The CAO is doing that, and we know we're going to be moving towards a parking structure. But please, please, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have other great applications come forward. Let's make them great outcomes like this and like Brach Street. So, go ahead.
Recorded vote on item 6.2. Councillor Alexander?
Yes.
Councillor Leahy?
Yes.
Councillor Lee?
Yes.
Councillor Mulcahy?
Absolutely.
Councillor Newman?
Yes.
Councillor Shahid?
Yes.
Councillor Yamada?
Yes.
Your worship?
Yes.
That vote carries unanimously.
Thank you. 6.3, Councillor Alexander. Oh, sorry. Is that Councillor Newman?
Councillor Newman.
Oh, my apologies.
Through Mayor Mitchell to Commissioner Saunders, a question arose at the Committee of the Whole meeting with respect to the possibility of amending the permanent sign bylaw to permit signs of a certain size rather than receive a number of variance applications. Is further direction required from council, or is the staff proceeding with this suggestion?
Let me say that there would have to be further direction from council because I 100% disagree with this direction. So I think that's an issue council should debate. Because with signs, the ceiling immediately becomes the floor. So if you want bigger signs around town, just raise the standards. You'll still get applications for bigger signs. So yeah, it would have to be council direction following a debate and a motion, I guess, yeah. So I'll leave that with you, Councillor Newman. Okay, is that it for now?
I'll leave the issue for now. I understood from the discussion at the last meeting that the staff was reviewing this issue.
I don't think so. I think you made a comment to the effect that you thought it would be a good idea. But that, unless there's consensus around the council, it has to come as a motion and it has to be debated and direction given. And there's certainly not consensus on increasing sign sizes, at least not unanimous consensus.
It was just my observation that there have been several or a number of variances, and I was wondering about the utility of continuing to address the variances rather than addressing the issue from a more consistent place. It may be useful to review and update the zoning bylaws in this area to bring it in line with the need in the community to do so. I'm not anticipating huge signs, but I am asking for possibly the consideration of this at a future meeting.
Okay. No, I think I understood your suggestion. I've been fighting signs for 25 years in this town, and I'm going to fight them as long as I'm up here. So, because people will junk up the town with signs in a minute. But if you want to bring that forward, you'd have to bring another motion in under new business or at a later council meeting, and that can be debated. Okay?
Thank you.
Now, on this application, on this matter before us, anything else? If not, all in favor? And carried. Thank you. Now, have I got this right? Is 6.5, Councillor Alexander? Oh, still at Councillor Newman then. Okay, sorry. Councillor Newman, 6.5.
Thank you, Your Worship. So as you know, at the Committee of the Whole meeting of October 7th, as the designate on the Heritage Committee, I sought to become a member of the core project team for the Downtown Whitby Secondary Plan Review, and clarification of the composition of the core project team was provided by Councillor Roy. My question to Commissioner Saunders is whether there is any other opportunity to be involved in the Downtown Whitby Secondary Plan Review from the start.
Through you, Mayor Mitchell, of course, there will be opportunities for all members of council to provide input throughout the project at key stages. Generally speaking, the initial stages are very technical, largely driven by staff and agency and other stakeholder direct input. That information culminates in a series of backgrounder papers and visions forward, which are brought to council for input and direction to move forward to a final product. So in that regard, all members of council are provided that opportunity at key stages throughout the project.
Something further? Okay. Any other discussion on this one? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Now, Councillor Alexander.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Okay, so through you to staff, I would think it may be to Commissioner Saunders or else to Ms. Fanshawe, who's sitting in for Commissioner Beall. With regards to the closure of Brach Street between Brach and Green Street, that will, I just want some clarification here, so please humor me. So it would happen simultaneously with the occupancy of the new Brookfield development, correct? So there is not really a specific hard, fast time. It would be once this development has filled up and taken off. Is that correct?
Through Mayor Mitchell to Councillor Alexander. If we were looking to close the road as occupancy occurs, we would have to initiate an environmental assessment in advance of occupancy to have an approved EA in place to close the road.
Thank you. And subsequent to that, please, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, if I can just, this came from me. I mean, my intention here was to ask staff to report back like well before, so council can either endorse that we'll close it or make it closable or not, so that Brookfield can design accordingly, rather than them designing as if it's going to remain a road. So yeah. So sorry, Councillor Alexander.
No, thank you very much for that clarification. So it's open right now as to moving forward in the future, whether it will be a permanent one or a seasonal, if lack of a better term.
Correct, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Everything's open. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Did you have something, Councillor Schitt, or is that good? Okay, thank you. Sorry, Councillor Leahy?
Yeah, just really brief comment on that, which I think is a great idea, fully supportive of. Do we have any timing? Because aren't they going to want to know soon if they're in the planning stages, or is it too difficult to understand timing at this point? Just curious, if it can't, we can.
What would the timeline be? I mean, it's...
by June.
Yeah, by June, probably.
Okay, sometime the first half of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Second quarter.
Yeah, no, that works. I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you. If nothing else, all in favor? Thank you. And that concludes planning. Thank you very much. Moving to general government, Chair Yamada. And there are, on 4 of these items, there are green folder amendments. So if you could indicate whether you're moving the original recommendation or the green folder amended. So 7.2, 7.8, 7.11, and 7.15 all have green folder amendments.
Your Worship, I'll move the amended motions, 7.1 through to 7.18 from the general government portions of the Committee of the Whole, October 7th and October 21st, 2019.
715 is actually a motion to table.
So he can't move that?
Yeah, I guess he can. It's not an amending motion, that's
No, well.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, are you seconding, Councillor Leahy? Second by Councillor Leahy. Pulse. Councillor Alexander.
7.5.
And other polls, Councillor Shahid.
713.
Councillor Newman.
7.6, 7.8, 7.10, 7.11, 7.15, and 7.16. Thank you.
Okay, other polls?
7.5.
It's already pulled.
That one.
So we have 7, 5, 6, 8, 10, 11, 13, 15, and 16. Any others? If not, all in favor on the remainder? Thank you very much. Councillor Alexander, 7.5.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. It's with regards to the placement of the William Stevenson statue, which public art personified, I think, historically, and just the fact that we have something so special that will be in our community tells a story to anyone about Camp X. And of course, I'm very fond of history, and I think it's fabulous to have this opportunity. I do have some questions, and I would just like to seek some clarification. I'm asking not only for myself as the councillor, but also as the representative for the BIA. I'm the mayor's designate there, and concerns have been raised by committee members, including myself, about the placement of the statue. And for clarification, we're looking at Celebration Square at this point, and the concern has been and continues to be the fact that, thank goodness, Celebration Square is being very well used now, and I have to thank our staff for their vision and the partners that we form in the community. The activities are happening, and they're growing, they're larger, they're popular, they're very well attended. Just want the assurance that the BIA will have some input into the placement of the statue, should that be the final home. Also, just for myself, putting it out there on the floor, just as a thought or two, I want to thank Sue Cullen and Brian Green for their vision for this project. And I often think that we're looking at our downtown and revitalizing the downtown, that maybe even the placement of Sir William Stevenson statue in the downtown area might be still considered. As I said, I'm just putting it out there on the floor, and I'm excited about the fact that we'll have a pedestrian walkway close to the new Brookfield development, and that might even be a topic for consideration there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. CAO, in terms of the process surrounding the location, and I know the BIA, the only concern I heard was a concern about potential accessibility impacts for events. So can you comment on that now, or how that process can go?
Yes, we will be reaching out to the BIA and a number of other interested stakeholders with respect to consultation on the final location. However, subject to council's approval tonight, the final location will be in Celebration Square. It will be just narrowing it down where within Celebration Square the statue is located in order to avoid impacting other opportunities that take place in the square, and in order to ensure that accessibility is maintained for those who utilize the square.
Thank you. Councillor Shahid.
Chair, I just wanted to comment on the fact that I'm really happy that an extension of that statue is coming to the park in East Ward, and I think it will be a good reflection on the fact that there will be more crowds possibly that could be drowned, that could come and visit to the park. So I'm appreciative of that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further. This is a great initiative, and let's hope we see it realized. It'll be a lovely and important piece of public art, and we do not have a lot of public art. So we had a meeting with the chairs today, and sort of once I go around and I speak, when the chair speaks, there's no more comments after that. Councillor Newman, I'm just saying. Do you understand? Sorry?
I understand what you said.
Okay, yeah. So again, we had a meeting with Chair Mulcahy next term and Chair Leahy, and we're going to try and do this very consistently and strictly. So if the chair sort of says, anybody else get any comments, and you don't have any, and then the chair speaks, like no one speaks after the chair. That's just kind of the way the rules work and the way we're going to try and follow it in a consistent way. So. All right. Anything further on that? If not, all in favor? Thank you. Now we have Councillor Newman, 7.6.
Thank you, Your Worship. This involved the 55-plus recreation strategy, and I want to offer, again, my congratulations and thanks to staff, including Kim Evans and John Watkins, for the lengthy report which was provided and the detail of the services for people 55 years of age and older, which are available in the town of Whitby at the Activity Centre. The report reflects that there are only 7 full-time staff, but 4,165 members and 300 volunteers who provide more than 30 programs and services in very diverse areas, from health and fitness, driving, snow removal, income tax, music, meals, and many other supports for our treasured older adults. And this group is anticipated to grow significantly. I thank the staff for their efforts.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? If not, all in favor? Oh, sorry. Councillor Leahy.
On this one, so the only thing we're renaming at this point is the senior center, so the name at the front of the building, correct? So it'll be 55-plus center?
Mr. Romanek, Commissioner Romanek.
And even though we have activities at like the BCCL and other areas, see, I'll keep talking until your microphone works. We're not going to rename anything else, right?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Leahy. Yes, for sure, the sign on the building. You'll also see some of the other printed material with the name change. So in the activity guide would say 55 plus. Okay. Any of that type of material would change as well. Okay, all that stuff. But even though we have a bunch of activities at like the BCCL or at the new Totten Mill site or any of those other places, it's just going to be the old senior center is going to be the only building with that name. Correct. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Councillor Alexander.
I just can't help myself. I have to pass comment on this since I'm a senior, and I believe, Mr. Mayor, you might be as well. So we're amongst those treasured people, part of that center, and I still think, Mr. Romano, it should be called The Young and the Rest of Us. Just got to say that. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I think I feel more like 55 plus. Just keep adding. Anyway, it's a great job. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. 7.8, Councillor Newman.
Thank you, Your Worship. There's a memo to Council from Commissioner Nix, which is dated October 23rd in the Council and Standing Committee correspondence, which provides an administrative correction and is to be included as an attachment to item 2 of the motion in the green folder. So I'll just read the motion that Council...
Sorry, Councillor, I believe Councillor Yamada moved it with that amendment included, correct? So that's what's before us now.
But there is... It was moved as amended.
It was moved, he moved, I noted that there were 4 items that were in the green folder that had amendments, and he moved the motions as they appear in the green folder.
Okay, thank you.
But yes, I appreciate that. Thank you. Do you want to speak to it?
No, it did include an administrative change, and but as long as that's understood, that's fine. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay, nothing further. All in favor? Thank you. And 7.10, Councillor Newman.
Thank you. Through Mayor Mitchell to Ms. Fanshawe, with respect to contracted services of curbside waste collection for the new development in West Whippy, since the contract with Miller Waste Systems is for a 5-year term, I'm asking if Council can receive an update after 2 years.
Just keep going. Yeah, an update on the...
curbside waste collection has been contracted out.
Correct.
And this is because of the new development in West Whitby. And it is for a duration of 5 years. The memo, the report also includes that there will be likely a top of 2 additional years. And so I was asking for an interim report as to how that was proceeding after 2 years.
Just in terms of quality of service, customer satisfaction?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So we can note that, Mr. CAO, for follow. Okay, thank you. Anything else? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Councillor Shahid, 7.13. Sorry, Councillor Newman?
Your Worship, I had also pulled 7.11.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you had. I'm getting ahead of myself. Go ahead.
And 7.11 involved the proposed bike route parking restrictions. I'm asking for an addition to the motion or an amendment to include prior consultation with the Active Transportation and Safe Roads Advisory Committee prior to the report being provided back to Council in December 2019.
Okay. So we, Ms. Fanshawe, when's our next meeting, the Active Transportation Committee? Way to put the pressure on you, eh? Maybe Mr. Clerk, the clerk knows. They're looking. The January? Is that what you said? Okay, so your request is to have this, sorry, I won't tell you what your request is, you can tell me, but the next meeting's in January.
Your Worship, respectfully, there may be other ways that there can be consultation with members of that committee, i.e. by email, by sharing the anticipated staff report with the advisory committee in advance of the report coming back to council. So I'm
Okay.
asking for that.
Certainly, we can share it with them immediately. Ms. Fanshawe, you can circulate it tomorrow, and then we can ask for any feedback and communicate with the chair, and see what their response is. There is a request in the amended recommendation to look at a solution that will save one side of the street for parking, if that's feasible, and I'm not sure that it is feasible. So certainly the Active Transportation Committee would be involved, along with Ms. Fanshawe, in looking at those options. Yes.
Through Mayor Mitchell to Councillor Newman, absolutely, we can reach out to the active committee. We do correspond with them on different occasions through email or telephone, in-person meetings, just staff and the chair. So certainly we will circulate the report and get their input.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. On this item, Councillor Leahy.
Thank you, Your Worship. So, and going back to the point of trying to maintain and keep parking on one side of the street to open and have an open, no parking and open bike lane on the other side of the street, is part of that discussion so that we would look at two potential streets in the neighborhood that are parallel, so you could go down one way a full way and then down another one a full way the other way? Is that even part of the discussion, or is that 2 steps away? I guess is the question.
Through Mayor Mitchell to Councillor Leahy, I believe we were looking at a cycle track, which would be a 2-way
In the same,
on the same road.
and there's enough space in the road?
That's something that we will report back on. There will likely be a need for some road widening to have the appropriate width of a cycle track.
Okay, but isn't road widening expensive? I'll keep through you, Mayor Mitchell.
When we report back, we will identify the impacts from a cost, order of magnitude for cost.
Okay, if there's a way to consider like doing one way on 2 potential roads that don't have road widening, would that not be a possible way to mitigate some of the road widening costs?
That can be a challenge from a signage to get that information to the cyclists that they have to go in one direction on one road and another direction on the other road.
Well, they generally go to the right, but I'm just trying to think of creative ways, because I know there's some streets in Oshawa where there's parking on one side and they have a cycling lane just on the right, and it looks like it's just for one. So, and I know that it is kind of confusing for some of the ones there. So anything we can do to improve it is great. I appreciate the effort, but I'm just trying to think if there's other solutions. So I look forward to the report and the options, but I want to support it, but hopefully it's not too expensive. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you're talking about the lane that's on the way to the Tribute Center there, right? It's like it's fully protected lane, but just on one side. Yeah, so it's interesting. So, okay. Hopefully something will work. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Now, Councillor Shahid, 713.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Mitchell. I just have a quick question or a suggestion. These trails that will be maintained, I believe they're about 2.3 kilometers that the winter maintenance will be done. Will there be a communication sent to community at large regarding these community trails that will be maintained?
Through Mayor Mitchell to Councillor Shahid. Generally, we do provide the mapping on our website, which identifies which trails are maintained. We don't, that I'm aware of, reach out to the public. We may reach out to schools in the neighborhood and advise them. They can let their parents know.
Through you, Mayor Mitchell. I just thought not basically reaching out to each and everybody and sending letters, but maybe in the perspective or through Twitter and our Facebook tool, pushing the fact that we are maintaining these trails, so keep on using them, kind of something like that. That's all I'm looking for. I think it will be appreciated because these trails do get used quite often. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, the CAO indicates we can look at communicating that, and I believe through the budget there's going to be some other suggestions if council wants to move on to expand it. Councillor Newman.
Thank you, Mayor Mitchell. I like the suggestion of Councillor Shahid, and I also would appreciate if council could receive similar information so that we are as informed as the residents may be, so that we can help with that communication. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Nothing further. All in favor? Thank you. Councillor Newman, 7.15.
There is a motion that indicates a recommendation that the motion regarding the election of regional councillors by ward be tabled. I do not support that motion.
So, sorry to interrupt you. It's a motion to table. The clerk is just advising me that a motion table is not debatable under our rules? Correct. Okay. So then it would only be debatable if there was a 2/3 majority wanting to suspend the rules and debate it, right? Yeah. So at this stage, it's not debatable, but then on the other hand, we're not actioning anything. Yes.
May I seek clarification on the point that has just been made?
Sure.
If the motion is not debatable, is it possible to ask for a recorded vote on the motion?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I'm asking for a recorded vote.
Okay. So we have a recorded vote request. Sorry?
Sorry, Mayor Mitchell, I need clarification. Recorded vote whether we want it to be tabled or not?
Yeah, so it's a motion to table. That's the motion. So we'll vote on it. It'll be recorded. If you want it to be tabled, vote yes. If you don't, vote no. Sorry, Councillor Leahy?
And another follow-up, so so for particular thing, we have a recorded vote on this tabled motion, and if it fails, then we go to the main motion before it was amended.
Correct.
And then we can speak to that?
Yeah,
of course, then it goes back to regular.
there, yes.
So I'm happy to vote no on this now. Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead.
Your Worship, recorded vote on the motion to table. Councillor Alexander.
No.
Councillor Leahy.
No.
Councillor Lee.
Yes.
Councillor Mulcahy.
Yes.
Councillor Newman.
No.
Councillor Shahid.
Yes.
Councillor Yamada.
No.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes.
Your Worship, on tie vote, that is lost.
Okay. So now, Mr. Clerk, do we go back to the original recommendation that was before us?
Your Worship, the item is there pending council's consideration. There would have to be a mover and seconder on the main item.
Okay. So for now, it's just, I mean, what happens? Do we have to deal with it now, or what happens? I just don't know procedurally. Do we revert back to? So it was on the agenda, and then there's a motion to table it, which lost.
So it goes back to the main motion, the question I asked earlier, right? We're on the main motion now?
So
we have a new clerk over here.
Your Worship, if no one...
Yeah, no, I would think it would, but I'm just clarifying.
Your Worship, if there's no decision from council this evening and we just move on to the next item, then it's a non-decision decision. By virtue of not making a decision, council's in effect made a decision.
We can also just move and second it right now and vote on it, can't we? Not?
Correct.
Well, let's do that. Happy to move it.
Happy to second it.
Well, yeah, I would have thought if you have a motion to table something that's on an agenda and that's defeated, then you'd go back to the motion that was on the agenda, would you not?
Yeah. Correct, yes, but in absence of council moving the main motion, if we were to do nothing, it's a non-decision.
So then we're back now at the original motion on 7.15. And so is there a mover or seconder on that? Councillor Leahy moves it. Councillor Yamada seconds it. So it's now before us. Okay, speakers? Or do we just...
Sure.
Councillor Leahy?
Thank you, Mayor Mitchell. So I guess to try and be more succinct than we were at committee and just speak to some of the challenges that we have here. So again, I'm very comfortable with the election system that we have for regional councillors today. It provides a broader perspective on how you can look and work for the entire town. There's no question that all members of council, no matter where they're elected from, can represent their areas effectively, but there is something about having a broader perspective and door knocking across the town. Like just the last few of the residents that I've gone out and visited, where one was in the center ward. It had a complaint about that particular area, and lo and behold, it was actually one of my my scout leaders from when I was in Cubs back in the 80s, and he just would have no idea. But it's just, you see that personal connection. I've been out resident complaints in the East Ward, the North Ward, as well as my old ward in the West Ward, and to narrow the view, in my perspective, is not a healthy one. I know it can be done in the ward perspective like it can in other areas, but I'm quite comfortable with the approach that we have right now. We have the opportunity to get a broader perspective and seeing what residents' concerns in each and every area of the town. That's very important for my perspective. And I don't think we should be going back to the ward to try and make it easier for a politician to get basically a six-figure job. Like, there's something about working hard to get the perspective of all residents across the town. Quite comfortable with the plan that we have by now, so I will be supporting the recommendation as it is. And as you know, we could go on, but I think we covered a few topics at committee, and I will leave it at that. Thank you.
Yes, we had a lengthy discussion at committee. Councillor Newman.
Thank you, Your Worship. I support Regional Councillor Leahy's submission. Section 224 of the Municipal Act identifies the primary responsibilities of the councillor, which are to support the municipality and its operations while ensuring that the well-being and best interest of people in the community are maintained. In Whitby, residents have benefited from ward councillors who deal primarily with local issues in the ward. The regional councillors address issues of broader impact in the region and have an opportunity to contribute when elected at large from all segments of the town and region. I therefore support the position that Regional Councillor Leahy has taken and will not be supporting the motion, the original motion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything further? Councillor Alexander?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be supporting Councillor Leahy's recommendation and comments. I feel that ward councillors are busy and they are dedicated to their ward specifically. Also, one has to think outside the box for the betterment of the community as a whole. And I feel that to have regional council at large is an advantage for us because we can go to the individual regional councillor should we require some assistance if necessary for transit or waste management or social services. So I will be supporting Councillor Leahy's remarks. Thank you.
Okay, anything further? Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think it's very important to note with this original motion that this is asking for a report only. It's asking for information. This is not asking for a decision tonight. It's not asking for whether or not we will actually switch to this system. It's simply asking our staff to look at best practices from other municipalities, from other regions, and see what works, what doesn't work, and to come back with information that we can then debate at a later time. So I see no reason at all why anybody would be opposed to more information. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. I think when we are looking at what's best for our residents, we have to look to what other municipalities are doing. We have to look to, just like in a business, you would look to your competition, you would review your sales processes, you would review your hiring processes. We have had this status quo for so long, and I just don't believe that status quo is necessarily the best. We need to be reviewing this. We need to have our staff look at it and come back with different options and different variables. I know for me right now, the way that I work with one of our regional councillors who is up in the ward, the former North Ward councillor, Councillor Malkahi, it works great that residents know that she is the regional councillor, I am the local ward councillor. It's great to be able to pass information back and forth specific to that ward, and it's just a really, really good system for residents. They know who they can call if it's a Durham transit issue and a regional issue. They know who they can call if it's a local ward issue because they know who those people are that they elected. To stick with status quo just because it works and just because we've been doing it for so long, like I said, makes no sense to me. There's a quote, it's a pretty famous business quote, that managers accept the status quo and the leaders challenge it. And I really think that this is relevant today. Any business today that embraces status quo is basically operating in a principle that's going to be the end of them. It's just not going to work if you just embrace status quo and go with it. So again, this is for a report only, not a decision tonight on what we're doing. And I will absolutely be supporting getting information. There is no way that I would never support not asking for more information and trying to get better facts to make that decision.
Thank you. Anything? Councillor Mulcahy?
Thank you. I'll keep my comments brief. I think I said enough at committee.
You did.
I did. I would like to see a report back. I would like to see more information. I'm not in the habit of just being comfortable where I am with rules that are 40 some odd years old. In fact, I think they're older than me, which, you know, I won't say my age. Anyhow, I just think that, you know, being comfortable in our positions is not necessarily a good reason. And, you know, it doesn't matter what the job pays you. This job should be something that is looked at. Are we serving our community well? Are we accessible to our residents? And I've spoken with councillors, regional councillors from across Durham region, and they are looking at me going, of course you should be doing this. It works so well. It does. So I would really love to see a report back, because I think that that's just information. It's not harmful. And the minute we stop denying information coming across council chambers, it just feels like we're being exclusionary, and I'm not going to support that. So I won't be supporting voting this down. I think that we do need a report back. I think we need information. We need data. We need to see what everyone else is doing and what the strengths and benefits are of it. And maybe it's not what I am expecting. So let's see it. Let's give staff an opportunity to report back.
Thank you. Anything further? Councillor Yamada.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a question through you to the clerk. Now, if we go to this system, let's say, if we wind up getting a report back, we vote in favor of going to a ward system, and then we have a decision down the road that comes to council due to the growth of the town, we say, well, we're going to vote to increase the size of Whitby Council by one ward councillor. What then would be the process of going to the region and saying, well, we're now by ward, we need another regional councillor? My belief is that there would be a process through the region, that it wouldn't be an automatic guarantee that we're getting another regional councillor.
Through you, Mayor Marshall, the bylaw of a local municipality to impact the composition of its council cannot impact the composition of the upper tier council. So there is no ability of Whitby to impact the regional council's composition.
So then we would have to go through, we'd have the possibility of having 5 ward councillors and 4 regional councillors that then don't match up. So there'd be one regional council, or there'd be one ward councillor that'd be looking for a different regional councillor to work with. Or we change the ward boundaries for the region, for our regional councillors. So that would overlap and add a little bit of confusion that we're trying to correct. I'm not going to support this tonight. I'm not going to support it because I think the system that we have works well. I think with the amount, taking a look at our special council meeting tonight and seeing the amount of initiatives that we are working on, I don't think the staff should be preparing a report on on the way regional councillors are elected. I think staff should be coming back and working and saying, here's how we get 5.99% lower. That's what I want to see. I want to see real work done for our constituents. I want to see savings for taxpayers.
So you're kind of digressing here.
And at the end of the day, I want to see the ability for us as regional councillors to still work across across Whitby and have that ability to connect with members from town line all the way down to the lake. You know, I think we can do more for our community by working together. I've always been willing to work with my colleagues. I think we know that, you know, if we want to see what other municipalities do, I think we already know that Pickering elects by ward, Ajax elects by ward, Clarington elects by ward. I don't need a report to tell me that. I want the staff to be working on our priorities that we set out at our special council meetings, that we set out at our retreat. Those are what's fundamental. That is what's going to get our community moving forward. And Your Worship, I think we can do that together without this report. So I will not be supporting this staff recommendation.
Thank you. Anything further?
Recorded vote, please.
Okay, thank you. I would just, my comments, I support the recommendation. The system has always worked well in the sense that once the election was over, it's worked well. Running for regional council across town is, let's just say it's a huge barrier to new entrants. It's a formidable process to go through. So I guess I don't recall if we have ever had a real examination of this. I suspect if we did get a report back, we would find out that almost every municipality of our size or larger, and we're getting larger, would have a regional ward system. So the question is, why is that? And I guess I'd be particularly interested in hearing both from the staffs of places where they have gone from at-large to regional, and from the councillors where they have gone, what they feel about it. Was it better? Was it worse? Was it indifferent in terms of service delivery? I know way back in the old days when I was a ward councillor, I'd frequently get calls, regional calls, and I'd say, well, like, talk to Joe or Jerry or Pat. You know, it's a regional issue. And they'd go, no, you're my councillor. Like, I want to talk to you. And I sort of thought that personal identification would be helpful, so they had not only their own local councillor, they had their own sort of regional councillor. But that would be part of the, you know, discussion when it comes forward. However, that are my comments for tonight, and I expect we'll be discussing it again a year from now. All right. Did someone call a recorded vote? Steve? Yeah. Councillor Lee. All right. Mr. Clerk?
Councillor Alexander.
No.
Councillor Leahy.
No.
Councillor Lee.
Yes.
Councillor Mulcahy.
Yes.
Councillor Newman.
No.
Councillor Shahid.
Yes.
Councillor Yamada.
No.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes.
Your Worship, that vote is lost on a tie vote.
Thank you very much. Okay, 7.16, Councillor Newman.
And thank you, Your Worship. For this motion relating to recyclables, I wish to thank Your Worship for the opportunity to meet with Durham Region staff, Mirka Janiskowicz, Director of Waste Management Services, and Craig Bartlett, Manager of Waste Operations. 2016 provincial legislation established the goal of an Ontario waste-free circular economy where all resources are reused. There will be changes in producer responsibility and the blue bin system, which will be forthcoming. I urge all members of council to review again the technical language in the preamble of this motion And I will proceed with the words of the motion because I think that they are important in the issues of climate action and our response as a town. And further to the motions with respect to plastics, which the council has recently addressed. So be it resolved that the council of the town of Whippy directs staff to work in collaboration with the region of Durham to ensure that all consumer packaging, including single-use plastics and coffee pods, are covered by the new blue box extended producer responsibility regulations. Ensure the new blue box EPR system consider all residents living within the town of Whippy, including those in multi-residential homes, have access to the new blue bin program established through the new EPR regulation. Invite regional staff to provide a presentation to the council of the town of Whitby outlining the planned timelines and implementation of the various EPR programs and their impact to the region, and provide a copy of this resolution to the Province of Ontario, Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, Association of Municipalities of Ontario, Regional Municipality of Durham, and all lower tier municipalities within Durham. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further on this. I would just say at this stage in time, regionals, it's not clear where this is going, so this would not be the immediate time to have regional staff here because they're not completely sure how this is going to roll out, but we will see. But certainly Mirka and Craig are great and they have all kinds of information and are happy to share it. So, all in favor? And carried. Thank you very much. So now that concludes the general government agenda. Thank you, Chair Yamada. Item 9.1 has been dealt with. So now we're dealing with 9.2. Can I have a mover on the business plan? Councillor Newman, seconder. Councillor Shahid. Any discussion? Yeah, Councillor Newman.
With respect to the business plan, I had thought that there had been a decision to defer the plan for a period of time so that there would be an opportunity for further consultation with Commissioner Nix and the CAO's office.
So that was in our earlier meeting. That was not my understanding of what I hope to achieve. What I understood it was we'll adopt this. It sort of outlines the business plan and the process. It's not a guideline. It's not to be taken as a budget guideline. And whatever further information we want Commissioner Nix to come back with for the budget guideline report, we should try and exchange information during the next week and get that information to him so it can be there for the budget guideline. At least that was my expectation. Councillor Newman?
Thank you, Your Worship. Clearly, the business plan, which covers a period from 2020 to 2022, raised a number of items, a complex number of items with respect to priorities, both present and future, and also provided information with respect to the fiscal impact. And so I would find it very helpful to be able to have an opportunity to review both the content with respect to the plan subsequent to this meeting with staff and understand that the relationship of the priority items which significantly represented plans rather than action items to cost to sort of further fiscal impact with respect to the tax rate. So I'm asking for an opportunity to do that and would like to defer the business plan even for a short period of time to be given that opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, I'm not sure we need that. Councillor Leahy, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, only in that because it speaks about 3 years' worth of tax increases and we haven't set the guideline yet. I just don't want to have the expectation out there that that's where we're heading before we have the tax guideline out. Is there any way we can just wait till after that? And then it's really clear what the guideline is versus what the plan is by not endorsing this tonight, is there any fundamental impacts to town staff or operations, I guess is the question.
Mr. CIO?
Well, with greatest respect, I don't know how we set a guideline without the business plans. I mean, the business plans are, to some extent, utilized to inform the guideline. So it's not that the guideline is in any way, shape, or form set in stone, but without some business planning process behind it.
Well, how did we set the guideline last year?
We were in the early stages of business planning even then.
Okay, so and again, deep respect, if we had enough information to do it last year without it, I the utmost respect to staff to do it, but like I guess if it's fundamentally going to impact without it, that's fine, but I'd be happy to defer it just so there's no confusion, but that's my personal preference. I'll leave it to somebody else to put the motion forward. Thanks.
Anyone else, other comments? Anyone else for the first time? Councillor Newman?
I would like to put the motion forward to defer it.
Okay.
To the next cycle.
So defer it to the next council meeting? Is that what you mean? Okay, so that motion's here. Seconder, Councillor Yamada. On the motion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
My question on the motion is the fact that if we separate this and we say we defer it, are they going to pull out the part of expectations of the taxation out of it? What are we sending this motion as deferring to do what? That's what I need clarification, that's all. Because I'm confused. This is just a very upper level business plan. It's giving guidelines, but I'm not taking that number as expectations to increase the taxes or anything. We just take it and we say, no, it's not acceptable, do something better, something in those lines. I just don't see why do we have to do a motion on the fact that this is just information, take it or leave it. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Lee?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a question for Commissioner of Finance. If we were to remove number 2, the financial portion, and keep the business plan as is, would that be something that we could just defer portion 2 until a later time, but keep all other parts of the business plan in place so that we can move forward with this?
Sorry. Through you, Mr. Mayor, that would allow us to continue forward with the business plan, but it would do so under the assumption that we would be bringing forward a budget based on the business plan. After discussions tonight, my understanding was we would be doing that, but bringing forward options to change or reduce along with the impacts of those options. That's how I understood the discussion tonight. So if that's the case, we could go forward under either direction, and I could bring back options based on council's comments.
Thank you.
Councillor Leahy.
Thank you, Mayor Mitchell. Yeah, I just, on this particular one, I like those particular options, especially because it impacts the potentially tax rate. We look at, I guess, the budget piece of $234 million, potentially putting an extra $100 million in debt in the future to use the assets when they're actually going to be, or build the assets and fund it for residents at the time they're going to use it. It could impact the rates, and then that could impact the business plan. So to me, setting the guidelines, getting that information, that more information, especially around the tax piece, will be helpful, and that's why I'd like to see it deferred, and as Councillor Newman has suggested, for one cycle. Thanks.
So in our meeting prior, I didn't really hear, I mean, Councillor Newman raised some concerns or some had some thoughts about were they plans or were they actions? But I didn't really hear anybody else on council say they disagreed with the themes or disagreed with the strategic actions. So I kind of think Councillor Lee's suggestion is a good one. Just take out number 2, so you're approving the framework, and then we're asking more about the financial aspects again, and then that will come back as part of the budget guidelines. But at least, if I missed it, I didn't hear anybody really criticizing the framework. Sorry, Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move an amendment to remove number 2 from that.
Sorry?
The motion to defer is on the floor. I deal with that first.
So there's a motion to defer on the floor. That's Councillor Newman's motion. So if you are agreeable, you could stand that motion down to deal with Councillor Lee's withdrawal of number 2. If you're not, you don't have to. Yes.
May I make a comment, Your Worship, with respect to the amendment and the current motion? It relates to both.
Sure.
In relation to this, I would find that the financial consequence of the items on the business plan are intertwined, and that it's important that that there be an opportunity to consider have a brief period to be able to have further discussions. I don't think they're independent. With each item on the business plan, there is a financial amount which is associated with that. For example, so I would respectfully suggest that the financial consequence of each item on the business plan is addressed, and that to suggest that they aren't related is perhaps challenging to accept. And so I would ask again for consideration with respect to the motion that I had raised.
Okay. So the motion to defer is in front of us. So we will vote on that. I take it if we defer it, then we're going to somehow go back into a process where we start, I guess, debating the specific contents of the goals and the actions suggested in this report. I think that's where that would leave us. So, okay, so we have a motion to defer. All in favor? 1, 2, 3. Opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the motion to defer is lost. Now the next motion is Councillor Lee's motion to remove number 2. Everybody understand that? Second by Councillor Leahy. All in favor of that motion? 4, 5, 6. All right, so that carries. So now we have the remainder, which is items 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 1, 3, wasn't there? 1, 3, 4. Okay, can we vote on that? I think we've had it around quite a while. So the mover on that is, we need a mover and a seconder. Sorry?
Councillor Newman had already moved it.
Oh, Councillor Newman and Councillor Shid had moved that motion originally?
And then it was amended.
Okay. So on that motion as amended, moved by Councillor Newman, seconded by Councillor Shahid, and we're endorsing 1, 3, and 4 and not 2 of Report 9.2. All in favor? And that carries. Thank you. So that concludes the agenda, Mr. Clerk. Okay, bylaws, mover on the bylaws. Councillor Newman, Councillor Shahid. Any polls? If not, all in favor? Thank you. Confirmatory bylaw, Councillor Lee, Councillor Shahid. All in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Alexander, everybody's hand is up in the air. Councillor Mulcahy, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
from 11 till 5 p.m. Everybody is welcome to come to Station Gallery. There is a $5 suggested donation if you don't have your holiday house tour ticket.
Okay.
But everybody is welcome to come and explore the gallery, so you can come see the artwork in Station Gallery and also purchase, special little things from the holiday vendors there.
Some little special things.
Exactly.
So if you are doing the house tour, you mentioned a little bit that it's throughout the Durham region. So which cities? Is it all over the place?
So we have houses in Oshawa, Whitby, as far as Ashburn is our farthest location.
Okay.
We have 8 tour stops this year, which is very exciting. And the real benefit for the guests who are going on the tour is that they do get to self-guide.
Okay.
So if they're coming from Ashburn, they can kind of take that tour in the way that's most convenient to them.
Right.
We often recommend limos may be arranged for these, especially if you're going in the fun group.
Absolutely.
And then you get to have the fun, you're with your friends, you all go along the tour stops and have a great time that way.
That sounds amazing. So rent your limo.
Yep.
You can do a whole night out, get your ticket, pick some houses to go through and get inspired by the holiday season, and then you can go to the market and do some Christmas shopping. Thank you very much for coming in today. Thanks to all our guests and our kid experts for sharing their events and activities with us. But most of all, thank you for watching. From everyone here at the Rogers Studio in Oshawa, have fun with your family and friends this November, and we'll see you next time.
Securing your recycling in a few steps is simple, like bundling your cardboard separately. These bundles can act as a lid for your blue box, or placing heavier items such as magazines on top of papers with no material above the rim.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
With NHL Center Ice, you get a premium ticket to the games you want every night of the season. With up to 37 out-of-market games a week to choose from, you'll get more goals, more saves, more non-stop action from the teams you love. NHL Center Ice, part of the Rogers Super Sports Pack. All this for only $35.95 a month. Order through your remote on Channel 431 or call 1-888-ROGERS-1 today.
Our son is one.
My father was one.
I am one.
Are you one?
This is Rogers TV, Durham Region. The opinions expressed in the following program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers nor Rogers TV.
Welcome to the Parenting Show. I'm Jennifer Anderson. With me, my co-host and parenting expert, Allison Schaefer. We want to welcome everybody. It is the first show of our new season. We've talked and tried to figure out how many shows we've done over the years. I think it's close to 300, and we have never done this topic. How exciting. So we started back 11 years ago, started doing the show. There was a lot of times we were starting with back to school. I was singing and
we had
very
little
excited
babies
about,
back then.
Yeah,
we had
about-
little kids in kindies
Yeah,
then.
back to school, being excited. But now we're skewing a little older with this show, and we're talking about preparing kids for college and university. I have 4 years to get prepared for that.
So remind the viewers of the ages of your kids.
Well, we have 2 older who are 27 and 24, long past finishing college and
you've got some
university.
wisdom. You sent them out.
Yes, it was very tough. And the twins are 14. They're starting grade 9. So it's, you think that kindergarten to grade 8 goes fast. That 4 years in high school is going to fly by. So, yes.
But now you have a sense of what that letting go and
That's
next
right.
phase is about. So you're already ramped up. And my kids are also out of the house. They're actually finished school and now working. So tick, tick.
Yes.
But I wish that I would have known how much earlier I needed to start the process for that. Not only in terms of training them, but for me to be prepared for the next phase of life of letting go. So to that end, that's our topic for today, getting our kids prepared for that first year of university, getting us prepared for that first year of university and college.
And we have a great guest today who is more than able to talk a little bit about this topic. Parenting author Kathy Buckworth is joining us. And this isn't your first time on the parenting show, but it's been a long time.
It has been a long time, and it's funny, it doesn't get talking about little kids and stuff. And you're right. So now my kids are 17, 20, 25, and 27. So we are going through
The accordion, you got like
age
one in
range.
almost every stage.
That's right. So I do. So I have 2. I have one that has graduated from university and is working. I have another one who started college, but actually that wasn't his path, and we can talk about that as well. Glad to do that. And then I have a third one who's in second year of university, and one who's going into grade 12. So hitting all of the sort of different points of what you go through in terms of knowing maybe the fourth will be the best prepared by me, or maybe the worst. I don't know. Like we're gonna find out, right?
Because our parenting does change with each child.
Yes.
But each child is also different. So there's no way.
Different. We know this with multiple kids, right?
Yeah.
Like they're so different in what they want to do for their living and how they want to approach school, whether they see school as sort of a continuation of their education, whether they see it as the end goal, whether they my daughter who graduated from University and Teachers College, she works in PR. So, you don't know, right, where eventually that path is going to take them.
Yeah. But would you say that kids are more stressed than when we were at that juncture in our life? Do you think the modern age is...
I think there is extra pressure, and I know this is an easy out to say, but I think social media puts a lot of extra pressure on kids because they see what their peers are doing so much more in their face than they used to, and that's where most of our pressure comes from, is from our peers. So I would say there's a different sort of pressure that exists there. I would also say that in the age of helicopter parenting, that threw that in your first show of the season, that parents are way more hands-on with their kids even when they move away from school, whereas in the past, I don't even know if my mom slowed the car down when we got to university. You know what I mean? Like, out you go. And then I think I went home once every 2 months, and there wasn't much communication in between. Now it's pretty much daily, right? The texting, et cetera.
Yeah, parents really almost go to university with their kids.
The big difference was, I know from when my first daughter went to when my third child was going, was that I had to attend a class for the third one, how not to interfere with your kids when they're at university. Just because you paid for it, you don't get to know what their marks are. And you don't. I'm sorry, the kids have to tell you. And that's a hard hurdle for a lot of parents. The professor who has 2,000 kids in their class is not going to call you mom when your son is not there. Right? So that's a big hurdle for a lot of parents also.
Yeah, and I think one of the changes around pressure too, besides the social media, is this scarcity mentality. And I think the kids start to hear this very early, not only from their parents and from social media, but just from the news and their teachers, that the predominant message that kids get is that only the cream of the crop rise to the top, and if you think that you're going to make it, then you got to be in that upper crust, and it's so discouraging.
My son, he was in grade 11 last year. He said, if I hear one more time, grade 11 is really, really important. I'm going to punch somebody. Because he said, I've heard it like from everybody. And he's not wrong in the sense they take your grade 11 marks for early admission, and it combined with your first semester of grade 12. So he's not wrong in that regard, but he heard it a lot. And I said, if I ever say it, let me know, because I know what pressure
There's sufficient pressure without us adding to it.
Know.
It's not as if they don't know.
Exactly. They know the pressures.
So Kelly, who is now 24, we dropped her off at Western for the first time. She was 18, barely 18. Her birthday's at the end of August. And we slow the car down, and they have a great tradition of a group of people pulling them out of the car. And so they don't even, they aren't even with you.
No,
the bags go separate, right? And
Same
so
at
it's-
Brock, same at McMaster, same at, they're all.
So it is great to be able to kind of infiltrate. They pull her out of the car, and as the guy turns away, who's pulled her out of the car, the back of his shirt says, "Hello, my name is Midnight Snack." And I thought my husband was going to pass out. So it's,
Get back in the car.
That's right. We are going home. It was, this welcome committee, and he's like, "That's not who I want my daughter to be welcomed by."
Exactly.
But it's that whole idea of letting go.
Yeah.
And if you hadn't let go to begin with, and you have been that parent.
I would say if you are the parent who still hangs around the kindergarten class for 2 hours after school starts, you're going to have a problem when you do the university or the college drop-off. It's the dump and run like you had to do at daycare as well. It really is, actually. So you're right, it is tough. And I think the other thing that's tough is that even if your kids are, I would, if finances allow and if your family setup allows, really encourage them to live in residence wherever they're going, because it's such a nice transition stage between living at home and then really living on your own. Because you're sort of protected, the meal plan, built-in social life, all of that.
Universities have been around for a long time. They're very well aware of the kinds of supports that kids need, and being and having those little frosh socializing things so people get to know each other, having that campus food plan or whatever. Like they know, they've had years and years of feedback, and so I agree. I think if you can do that first year in residence, I think it's great.
But the hard thing is when you get out of the car, you have Frosh Week, and Frosh Week is meant to really get you to meet other people.
Orientation Week now, Jen. It's a little more politically correct.
This is what I mean about the time.
Because Frosh Week had certain implications around swirlies and drinking. So now it's
that's what I'm going to say, right?
Like we are changing that culture.
So is it changing enough?
I think it is changing. I mean, it's debatable whether it's changing enough. There certainly is a drinking component that comes into play there, but it's also a lot around sports. They have competitions, they do talent shows, they do tours of the university, they do it really has evolved into more of an orientation week, which is great, but of course there's always going to be student-led drinking opportunities. How's that?
Well, and that's to the point of why they want to slam the car and get their first little taste of freedom. Yeah. But because in the province of Ontario, kids are going off to college and university, and they're still minors, where the majority of the people on campus are, the likelihood of their exposure to alcohol.
Ontario's the last one to do. I mean, it's 18 across a lot of provinces. It's 19 in BC.
21 in a lot of the United States,
it is.
right?
I went to university when I was 17, actually, because I skipped a grade and I did grade 12 in Winnipeg. So I was certainly 2 years younger than most of the people I went there. I don't know if it's an age-related things in terms of whether you're going to drink or not, more or less they're at a maturity level. And you can argue that, a 17-year-old girl can sometimes be more mature than a 20-year-old boy or vice versa. Yeah. So
or a 30-year-old, I mean.
So it's an extra challenge for sure. And there is, obviously, there shouldn't be any alcohol in any of the residences because it's 95% first-year students, and most of them are underage. But shouldn't be as different from what exists.
And to your point, I think we'd be naive if we went with the idea that, well, you're a minor, so there'll be no alcohol around. I think we have to say there will be alcohol around somewhere, somehow, and therefore you need to be prepared for it.
Absolutely.
And I think part of the education piece for parents is also to say, let's get really clear on what that could mean. I've heard of kids being completely shocked because they drank off campus and then walked across campus and got busted and kicked out of school, and they're like, So I think every parent should go through those policies.
Well, because the campus police or whoever the governing, who would have gotten them in trouble, they don't know where the drinking took place. So it's just you're not allowed to be drunk on
So
on
I think every parent needs to review that with their kids.
They have pubs, though. They have, there are places where you can drink legally and things like that. It's not like they've gotten rid of all the pubs at universities or anything like that. There's all kinds of parties and that sort of thing. So it has to be managed because this is the real world. So we have to prepare our kids for what they're going to face there, that they can do sort of whatever they want for the first time maybe in their lives.
That preparation piece is really the whole, in a sense, the whole topic, is that's where parents have to step up and prepare our kids for life as opposed to protecting them for life.
Right.
And to know that it's worse to be reactionary after the fact than it is to give wise, sage information up front and let them know, go out there, I've always got your back. Chances are things are going to happen. And so, how many kids have phoned home at, around or even come home for Thanksgiving dinner and they're like, about that money you gave
I'm out of
me?
money already.
Yeah, about that food card?
Yeah, exactly.
It's already
gone.
Right?
Yeah, so it's absolutely right. So those are important things. Besides, we like take the piece of alcohol aside, that's a whole topic. But there's finances, exactly right. They should know how to balance their checkbook. I know that sounds old-fashioned, but in a sense, what's going in and out of their bank account. They should get a student credit card, and they should, because they need to manage their own credit, and then they have something for emergencies that they're responsible for, and they'll build their credit history, etc.
Yeah. Women especially.
They should budget. When they're on a meal plan, you sort of pick the amount that they're going to get, and most kids can manage it. But they should know how much they're paying. Is it per meal? Is it is it per item? Is it how does the salad bar work? Are they weighing that, etc.? There's all these things that they might not have had to think about before. They also need to know if they have a budget. For instance, my daughter is on the hockey team and the sailing team. Who pays for that? So we made her save up money for her, we call it books and beer. Yeah. But it was like, so books and entertainment basically is what you have to pay for yourself, and we paid for tuition and residence. She's like, who pays for me to be on the hockey team? So we agreed to split it, actually, because we enjoyed the fact that she was getting exercise and she was on a school team, but she had to have
but
skin in the game.
But it wasn't an assumptive, you know, right?
Exactly.
And again, that's being proactive as opposed to reactive when she signs up and says, hey, reimburse me, and you're like, well, I didn't agree
I didn't know
to
this
that.
was coming. Yeah, exactly.
So we have a question from, and you always reach out to our viewers to ask questions. This is from one of them. I gave my daughter a credit card for emergencies when she was away at school, but I can see from the bill that she is not always in an emergency.
Why are we
shoes were on sale, Mom? This is an emergency.
That she is spending it on non-essentials like clothes at Aritzia. There you go.
No emergencies there.
I am furious. I want to take
emergency.
That's right. I want to take the card. It was cold. I want to take the card away, but feel safer knowing if she needs a cab ride home.
So here we go.
Has something.
So there's a few things. She should definitely take the card away. If she needs a cab ride or if she needs an Uber home, that could go on Mom's account, right? So that doesn't have to be charged.
You can log in. You can do that digitally. Yeah.
Exactly. So that can be on Mom's credit card. So it is only be used for cab rides or Uber rides. And the other thing, she should apply for a student credit card. This is what I was saying. She'll get a limit of $500 or $1,000. So that's your emergency money. And honestly, Mom has to run through in her head the scenarios by which she would need to have a credit card. She's too young to rent a car. Is she staying at hotel rooms? Is that an emergency? Is she, why is she? What is the emergency?
Right.
We have universal health care. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure what this emergency would be per se.
Well, this also speaks to the helicopter parenting.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of us want our kids to be incredibly comfortable all the time for all things and reasons.
She should also make her pay back for the purchases she made. Sorry, in my mind, right?
Yeah,
because that was not
agreement.
Authorized. Yeah, exactly.
Not part of the
not
agreement.
part of the contract when she went away.
Right, but I can tell you how many parents will pay down that card and hand that card back over, and then they'll load it up again, and they'll say, I told you not to, and pay that card off, and they're never going to learn. That's not how kids learn.
But sometimes parents justify that as, if she is or he is struggling, he's having a hard time, he needed the break, he needed, the little bit of retail therapy, whatever it may be. It's easy to justify that I'm just trying to make their stay and transition a little bit easier.
So maybe what's a nicer thing to do or a more appropriate way to do it is send them like a $50 Interact transfer and say, you know what, you've been working really hard, you've been telling me your grades are good, you've been studying, why don't you go treat yourself? And not that open-ended sort of credit. So on that point, Jen, that's another way to manage it.
I did send my kids lots of little
treats or
packages from home, and they had things like the little eye masks and the little comfy tees.
Gosh, you're way nicer than I am. But I have 4 kids. We have 4 as well. But
no, I just had the 2.
You're right. Yeah.
But I just made these little kits to sort of say I know it's exam time or I know whatever, and I think for them it wasn't so much actually about needing the money. It was about needing to feel thought of, cared for, whatever, and keeping that connection from at home, because as much as they do love, they've got this one foot in adulthood in that first year, but it's amazing how much they still want to feel the comfort of home, that first Christmas that my kids came home, it was like, can we still have the pajamas the night before? And I was like,
They cling to tradition because they're living in such a new world.
Yeah.
I think importantly though, as the kids are going off in September, it's really I felt important to encourage them to not come home before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And that's when they really, that's a nice time to come home. It's a family celebratory time. They've been away for 5-6 weeks at that point. And now a lot of universities have their first reading week during that week too. So often they get that whole week off. So it's a really nice time to sort of reconnect them before they go back. If they start coming back before that,
now talk about the fears. I agree with you on this. We've we've mentioned this, you and I together.
So if they come back before that, the fear is that they just don't establish that. Social lives get established very early on in that first year in residence, and when everyone's doing the bonding, orientation, et cetera, it's hard for them to break back in again once they've come away home every weekend. And then people just think they're at home every weekend, so they don't get invited. So I think that's really hard as well.
And it's not that they're not likable, and it's not that there's like necessarily social bullying, but it's just the nature of the beast, where when you start to having common experiences, you start talking about what happened yesterday at the whatever, and then you tend to repeat the same people to come again.
And they've excluded themselves. And I think they think, oh, I'm just going to go home and hang out with my high school buddies. Guess what? They're not there.
No,
so
they're off.
So then who are they hanging out with? Mom and dad, right? So and then everyone gets in everyone's nerves because so it's not a good time.
Those the more introverted kids, the kids are a little bit more socially anxious. As much as we'd like to step in and rescue them, it's like we need to encourage them, like stick it out, stick it out.
And join teams. If you're athletic, join, try out for the teams. And even sometimes if you try out for a team, you don't make it, you meet a bunch of people with common interests. And guess what? Sometimes there's an intramural team you can join up with too. So, there's many activities and things. And especially it's hard for the Shire kids, but that's so important to find your people. And we talk about find your people.
And so unlike high school, in high school you had like maybe 8 clubs, and we've almost cut all funding for clubs.
Yeah, that's very true.
University, you get 6 people together that want to do like inner tube polo. That's it. You're
That's
a club.
the club.
So there's like there's literally clubs for everything at university. I think sometimes it's some of the best places for kids to finally meet people like them.
So do you recommend going to visit them?
Okay, so that's in the U.S. they have this thing called Parents Weekend, which I've never understood, but it's one weekend where it's like visiting at camp or something. In Canada, we do not, just so people know, we don't have that kind of structure in Canada. The universities do not offer a parents visiting day.
Yeah, right.
So it's up to you. I would suggest it is nice to go out and visit your kids, but take them out for lunch or something. Do you know what I mean? Take them off.
I don't want to eat the salad bar down on their meal plan. Let me tell you that
Get
much.
a tour of it, but you've had a tour already before they started. But if you haven't, have a look around. But take them off campus, give them a little treat, and then take them back. Right. So you don't hang around all day.
I think it would be similar to if you moved out and got your first apartment, and you'd like your parents to come see your digs, see your environs, meet your friends. Same thing, meet them. Don't set up shop. Don't come to the dorm
try not
party
to say,
on
is
Friday.
That pot I smell?
Right,
because it is. So just get in and get out.
Yeah.
So, there's a transition, definitely, with any child that goes away. But what happens if you haven't really taken those high school years to prepare them? You're still, they still ignore the alarm clock in the morning.
Big one.
And then you wake them up. And you're still checking the test scores because the teachers are still allowing them to, and monitoring what they do.
Right. I remember, Allison, we've known each other for many years. I remember one of the things that you said that you did with your daughters when they were in high school was that's when you went out for your run, because you just didn't want to deal with the alarm clock and fighting over the bathroom and what am I taking for lunch? And you said I just left. And to be honest, that is great. And you got to start. Just leave the house. The key part of that was leaving the house.
Yeah. Go to Starbucks.
Right. Okay. And it's a great piece of advice because if you're not there, they have to get it done. Now, I travel a lot. My kids are well used to getting themselves up in the morning and getting the door out. But that is a problem for a lot of kids, that alarm. It was a problem for one of my older son, actually. He was not great at that, and he didn't manage his own time as a result. He said, I don't have class till 11. I'm not getting up till 10:35, right? Yeah. But then he wouldn't allow time for, I was supposed to be doing homework or something before that because my classes go till 9 at night. And that's what they're not used to as well. My daughter had many classes that went till 9 or 10 at night. Exams are on a Saturday. Exams are on a Sunday. The schedules are all flipped. So you have to be ready for that as well. So they have to get out of that sort of 8 till 3 school mentality as well and adjust their learning to the new schedule. Or pick courses that land at the right time if that's super important to them. So managing their time is really key.
And so again, to the point of the parents that are watching who are thinking, well, my kids aren't at this stage yet. Everything is a stage leading up to the point where you are going to leave your kids to be independent and autonomous. And the earlier you start on any of these things, the less you're going to have to be doing these last-minute trainings. I'm thinking, you got a 17-year-old and you think you're going to teach them to be financially responsible, learn how to cook, learn time management, and you think you're going to do that all in the 6 months before going to the laundry before college.
How to clean a toilet.
Totally
like all
overwhelming.
Of that stuff that they have to know how to do before they go. Exactly.
So spread it out. They're so much more capable than we give them credit for. And part of it is we think they can't do it. And part of it is we don't give them a chance.
And sometimes,
to do it.
some parents can do that stuff for them all through university as well. They'll call them in the morning to wake them up. They'll say, bring your laundry. My daughter, who's 20, is teaching at a camp this week, and she said that some of the guys in her camp were complaining because their shirts were getting stinky. She was like, wash them. They said, well, I don't want to ask my mom to do extra laundry. She was like, oh my God, you're 24 years old. So sometimes it happens, so we need to start that 7-year-old can do laundry.
I like to collect dramatic stories. That's a good one. I have a good. I'm going to keep. Can I borrow that one? And here, you can take this one away with you. So I know somebody who actually sent their nanny to university with their child in a different house, but because they didn't. Yes, they did. They did.
That's crazy.
They did.
Well,
they moved the nanny with the child to university.
I know a woman whose 2 sons are at Queen's, and they come home every 2 months with all of their laundry. They have never done a piece of it. And she said, we have to drive and pick them up because they can't take the train with their laundry. So there's so much going on there that are you crazy, right?
Yeah.
So we really need to start that we really need to start that in high school. Things like budgeting, and we can have a big discussion about allowance. I know this is a separate thing, but how to manage money, whether it's through allowance or other means. Laundry, cooking. A lot of them actually you can move apartment style into residence, and you have a kitchen and you have to do your own cooking. Regardless, they're probably going to have to do it in year 2, 3, 4. Anyway,
it's
they
coming.
should be cooking at home as well too, at least once or twice.
And
a week.
I wanted my kids to learn how to cook for economic reasons.
Yes, instead of going out all the time.
Yeah, if you compare the cost of a Swiss chalet order in to a pre-cooked rotisserie chicken, to stuff a lemon in the carcass of the chicken and put it in the oven for an hour and don't do anything. And it's not just 2 Swiss chalets for half the price.
But it's also not just the money, it's the nutrition, right? Because it's so easy to eat fast food and things that aren't great. The freshman 15 is not a joke.
Yeah.
It does happen, right? When kids are like, I can have fries every meal if I want to. Well, you can, but hopefully you've learned at home that you shouldn't.
I was okay with saying kids today don't sew. When I went to high school, I started my first job after university. I sewed my own clothes to go to work.
What did they look like?
I'm sure you were very, very fashionable.
Well, yeah. I mean, clothes came down in price a lot. Anyway, so I'm okay with the fact that my kids don't know how to sew and that I don't see it as a life skill that you need to know how to do. But do you know how many kids I'm saying that really just don't know how to cook basic things? They're just
really
basic
crazy.
things. It's a dying art if we don't teach our kids, and I think it's a real problem.
One of the things we started with our 4th child, which we sort of started, again, he might be the best prepared, was when he was about 15 and he looked around the table and decided, I'm the only one left at home. I'm going to have to clear the table every night because our kids always. I said, you don't have to clear the table if you make dinner, almost as a throwaway line. He said, can I? We're like, absolutely. So he cooks dinner once a week. He has for years now. And then when my daughter came back from university, we said, guess what you're doing once a week too? So now she cooks Mondays, he cooks Wednesdays. It's so much easier for me, first of all, but secondly, they're learning so much, not just about buying their groceries, preparing their groceries, cooking a meal, dealing with, I don't like that, timing, all of those things. And now I think they kind of look forward to it. They really feel accomplished.
Right. And they're the pride of serving something up to other people.
Absolutely,
is fabulous.
especially when they move into a house with roommates.
So we only have a few minutes left. What we haven't covered is the opposite, and it's staying in touch.
Oh, I thought you were going to say kids who fail out. No, I got stories on that too.
Yeah,
me too.
No,
me
just
too.
the idea of if you can open. We've talked about kind of the communication beforehand as they go off to school. Once they are there, it's kind of that peace of mind. It's the staying in touch and really checking in
without helicoptering.
Right,
the checking
line.
And it depends how much. I find it depends how much your child needs as well. So let's say, for instance, if in high school they're like, you're not checking in all that often. You're not saying, is lunch okay? Did you get home okay if you're working and everything? If you're not doing that, don't start doing that at university. But it depends what your level of communication was before. I would say texting is the best way.
Or
Snapchat. Or whatever type of what you're used to with your kid. Again, it's Facebook message, whatever. Yeah. Phoning a Gen Z person. They are not going to answer.
What is that noise?
What is that noise? Yeah, exactly.
This thing's vibrating.
I would say that's not always, it's not your normal method of communication. So all of a sudden you're saying, Mom or Dad pop up, is there an emergency? What's going on? Then they realize it's not an emergency. Mom just calls me 10 times a day. Then when there is emergency, guess what? You're going to voicemail. So make sure that you're communicating with them in the same way that you always have. I would say let them lead it a lot of the time. So if you don't hear from them for a couple of days, you might be thinking, oh my, what's happening? Let them lead it a little bit. Let them take a little bit of leeway and then say, oh, I haven't heard from you. Share a piece of news to them so it seems like you had a reason. to communicate them with them.
I mean, I think too, to your point about your own patterns, but I think my kids would like, if I initiated, that sent the message that I was thinking of them. Now, but I'm not your daily, I'm not that daily in your face kind of mom. So I think my kids wanted to know, like, you mean I went off to, you don't miss me? You're like, you turned my bedroom into a yoga studio? Did I mean nothing to you?
My 25-year-old son doesn't have a phone number. He's off the grid. So I can only get him when he has free Wi-Fi with Facebook messaging. It's like sending a smoke signal when I contact him. So some kids, again, so he's so different. My 27-year-old daughter still texts me every day. So kids are different too. So know their patterns and make sure you're right, that they know you're thinking about them, but you're not, they're busy. They're busy with new friends. They're busy with, getting used to their new life and really trying out things for themselves. And sometimes it's nice when you're not in touch all the time, because when they do come home at Thanksgiving or Christmas, they have stories to tell you. I saw it on Facebook. I read your Insta story. It's nice sometimes they save up stuff to sort of tell you in person, which is a better way to communicate.
Very quickly, and you did mention that dropping out. What happens if...
Right. Well, my daughter was devastated when she decided to drop out and switch. She didn't know at the time that she was going to switch, but she really thought that was probably just the biggest unrecoverable failure. Now, she ended up finding a different program, switching. She had to make up some extra credits and got started. And at the end of it, she said, do you know, almost everybody does that? And I was like, no matter what I said to say, it's okay, everyone does this. I did it.
That's
so,
right.
It's really hard to get them to understand.
It's hard to know. So I had a different experience. So my son went away to college and was kindly asked to leave after a year. And it was never right for him. In retrospect, he was a square peg in a round hole. We should not have pushed him actually to go away to post-secondary. He did a gap year, actually, so he did a lot of volunteer work. He went to an outdoor program. He wanted to be a camp leader, et cetera. And now he's a snowboard instructor / whatever, he can pick up work anywhere. That's the one without the phone number. He's a gnarly dude. Okay, I'm just saying. But you'll have to know your own child too. Do we consider his experience at college a failure? Yes, in the sense that we paid for it, but no in the sense that he knows at any point if he wants to go back and pursue that,
the journey.
It's still there. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
Kathy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to everyone who's watching at home. Of course, we love having our viewers in Ontario, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, and all of our viewers online who are watching the show. Check out more information about the show on rogerstv.com, or of course you can see all of the episodes on our YouTube channel at Rogers TV. And of course, Alison's website always has a wealth of information about what you are doing and where you are going.
Yes, and check out Kathy's as well and her book, I'm So the Boss of You. Come join us again.
Yes, it's great sharing the couch with you ladies today. Thanks. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on The Parenting Show.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
This fight's not only a fight that people want to see, this is for the baddest in the game.
Undefeated in the streets, Jorge Masvidal.
The real is back. If you like watching real fighters, tune in.
Nate Diaz loves to scrap.
I'm a warrior. I'm here to kill and be killed. Dana's making a belt just for that. This is the baddest in the game belt.
Oh, I'm so excited.
This is Rogers TV, Durham Region.
Hi, welcome to Cooking with Corey. I'm your host, Corey Dern, and with me is this handsome gentleman, Bill Fair from JW Foods. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Corey.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Well, appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is a good show, folks. I'm going to tell you, if you just look in front of you, look at all of this yummy, yummy food. I'm the lucky one who gets to eat it today. You can be the lucky people who get to eat it in the future. And I'm going to tell you that today's show is all about prepping your food or purchasing food that is already prepped so that you can sous vide and be eating it at any time, anywhere, any place. I've decided to go with Bill because when people ask me, where do you get your food from? Like, where do you buy your meat? Is it a trusted source? Here's my trusted source. Bill, you have JW Foods.
Yes.
How long
I'm
have
one
you
of
been
the
in
owners.
business?
Since '95. So a long time.
Since you were a child.
Yeah, we took the business over from our father, who was in the food industry since, my God, the 60s.
Wow.
Long time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so our love for the food industry and the truth behind it, and how we can make a product that was actually extremely healthy for you was extremely important to us. And that's why my brother and I got into the business and took it over.
Awesome. And you love to cook.
100%. I mean, who doesn't love to cook? I mean, you got to put real food in your body, right?
I can see the viewer who's going, I don't like to cook. I just like to watch cooking shows, but I don't like to cook.
And that's why this exists.
Yes,
for
I was
those
going to
viewers
say,
that
this is
need
for
it.
you.
100%.
If you don't like to cook, but you like to eat, and you want to trust where your food is coming from, then this is definitely the episode for you. And if you're a person who does love to cook, but you don't have time to cook, or you're trying to plan ahead, this is also the episode for you, because now you can see how you can portion control, vacuum seal, and then reheat your food in a way that it's still absolutely wonderful and enjoyable.
Absolutely.
Did you come up with a lot of these recipes, or do you work with chefs?
Yeah, we have a chef that works for us, and her job is to come up with different products that we carry, because we try to deal as local as possible when it comes to everything we do. So a lot of the proteins that come from local farms in Ontario, even though it's against the law for people to deal with a local farm, for the purpose that we do. We are the provincial plant set up by the government, so we have a government inspector inside our plant all the time. But our chef comes up with beautiful recipes, and then we deal with professionals like you. Jeez, aren't we lucky?
Yes, and I love that you were saying that, because people ask me all the time, they'll come up to me and they say, you know, I have some chickens. Do you want some chickens? And you can cook them and sell them. And it's like, if you're not federally inspected, then no, I can't take your chickens or anything like that. But what you do, you're saying you're the plant, so you can get that, and then you fabricate the meat, make sure it's inspected, make sure that everything is absolutely A-okay before you go.
Absolutely. We have multiple parts of our business. So from the raw product, then we do all the portioning, we do all the breakdown of the product, and then we send it over to our other unit, which is a separate area that does all the fully cooked portion control meals, which is a practice we brought over from Europe in the 90s.
Oh, awesome.
We really started to focus in on where in the world they handled and they did things that were extremely good. And Europe is usually around 10 years ahead of the rest of us. Where, you know, it's a beautiful area to look at when it comes to cooking and taking care of products in this manner, for sure.
And I was saying before, like in all my shows, I usually let people know that French terms, like when you think about any culinary terms, it's always inspired by the Europeans. It starts there. And the thing I think that makes your product special, and we are going to talk about these things because there's so many yummy things here, I can't even get over it. I'm so glad that I haven't eaten yet, because I'm going to like snarf this. But it's, you cook for athletes.
We do.
And for people who are thinking about what they're putting in their body.
Yes.
So grass-fed beef?
Yes, it is. Grass-fed, grass-finished, and we like to use the word no antibiotics and hormones, like everybody else. But
isn't that law, though? They have to know. But I mean, sometimes animals do get sick, and so I think you have to.
This is where I get into my my public speaking about the truth behind the food industry. Because anything sold for human consumption has to have antibiotics administered at the beginning of his life. And then they take the antibiotics out. So the antibiotic-free that we always hear about is usually a term used after the injection at the beginning.
Right. But they separate the animal, generally speaking.
If the animal gets sick, it's like the local farmers always tell me, if the animal gets sick, we always segregate it from the rest of the herd.
Right.
And then they're administered antibiotics like you would do for your children at home.
Right.
There's no difference. And an animal is like your child. And that's where we get really deep into the industry about how they're humanely taken care of.
Right.
It's an important part of who we are at JW Foods. we try to make sure that the animals are being humanely taken care of. It's part of my life. They're given to us from God.
Yes.
We have a responsibility to them.
Well, this is how actually Bill and I really connected on this, because a lot of times you talk about, you know, there are farms where they have the animals and they're free range and everything is happening, but once it comes time for slaughter and consumption, the ones that were running around are not tasting as good as the ones that were, you know, actually marketed for that. And where you come into play is that you have that lovely balance of giving them a good full life, and then when it comes time for consumption, you're ending up with a product that you do want to eat.
It has a different taste.
It does. It does.
Really does.
It really does. So I've got a pot of boiling water here. Do you want to talk about what sous vide is? This is going to take about 2 minutes to.
The beauty is that these are frozen, and you just put them in the water and bring it to a boil.
Right.
The packaging's BPA free.
Fantastic.
Created by the Germans. It's actually an amazing, amazing package which can be recycled. You just clean it out and put it in the recycling bin. And the beauty is when you put them in the water and you boil them, the water hitting boiling point kills bacteria. For children and seniors, that is extremely important when it comes to food safety.
Right on.
Eliminating the risk of cross-contamination.
All right, so we've got like about a minute and a half before we're gonna go to commercial. So I've got this absolutely beautiful vegan potato and pea with dill, which sounds scrumptious.
It's amazing.
So all I've done is I brought some water to a boil, and then I'm going to just put the package directly in. And I think I'm going to do this one as well.
Beautiful.
This one looks really good.
It is.
Ooh, this is vegan white bean.
Yes.
So both of them straight into the water, lid on, and then you would set your timer for how long?
Usually what I do at home is I leave them in cold water, and then I bring it to a boil. That way it's really simple for the homeowner to, once the water's boiling, pull them out and enjoy. Usually anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes.
Fantastic.
So fast and so convenient. And you don't need carbs with this because you have the olive oil in it, which is a carb replacement. And I like to add a green to it and mix it all up. It's just a beautiful, beautiful product for taste and flavor.
Right on. And you know what? A lot of people get a little nervous when they hear the term vegan, right?
Yes.
Because you think that you have to get your protein and everything from your meat.
Right.
But beans are a wonderful, high source of protein, and they're really great for filling you.
Yeah.
You know, I think the key thing that you have to remember is that you're eating food to fuel your body. You want it to taste good, of course, and enjoy the experience, but just think about eating until you're full. And that's one of those things that do it. We're going to cut to a commercial, and when we come back, this yummy soup is going to be ready for tasting. So stay tuned.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
For Sir George Etienne Cartier, the work of uniting Canada was as vast as the country itself. First, he won over Quebec.
Union is the only way forward.
No, Monsieur Cartier. Confederation will cost French Canadians their nationality.
Monsieur, together we will form a political nationality independent of our origins.
Diversity will be Canada's strength.
Then he fought for Manitoba.
The Northwest has formed a government under Louis Riel. We will not join Confederation unless our rights are respected.
So you want a new province? Then you'll have it. There will be a place for your people in Canada.
He envisioned a country from Atlantic to Pacific.
British Columbia won't even think of joining Canada without a wagon road through the Rockies.
Ask for a railway. We are building a country after all.
Bold as a lion, Confederation could not have happened but for him. Du Canada, son pays, ses amours.
I joined because I wanted to help others.
To be a part of something bigger.
To show my kids what's important.
I joined to make my community stronger.
To make a difference in someone's life.
To acknowledge that our freedoms come at a cost.
I joined to honor my mom.
My grandpa.
My neighbor.
Everyone who served.
Who are serving still.
I joined.
I joined.
I joined the Legion.
Durham is a great place to raise a family. There's so much to do. And What's on Durham has your monthly checklist of kid-approved fun. Watch What's on Durham only on Rogers TV.
Hi, welcome back to Cooking with Corey. I'm your host, Corey Dern, and with me is the handsome Bill Fair, and we are making yummy, yummy, yummy food sous vide style. So for those of you who are just joining us, that's what we're doing. For those of you who have been watching us, before the break, put this beautiful vegan, I'm going to put this here. Yes. Thank you, careful, it's really hot. 2 beautiful vegan stews into my hot pot, and look at that. It is hot, ready to go, ready for serving. That took, I'm going to say, a minute and a half.
Not long at all.
No. Whatever that commercial time was, it was ready to go. Yep. So I'm going to put this on here and open these up into a bowl. May I give this to you? And then if you don't mind putting it into...
There's yours.
Oh, thank you. You've got a scissor. Thank you. Mine. And you know what? You were saying that the plastic is BPA free?
Yes, it is.
And also, I'm holding this. This came out of hot water, and I'm not burning my hands while I'm doing this, which is great.
And people don't have to worry about chemicals getting in because there isn't. It's a beautiful creation by the Germans.
Amazing. I'm going to say sous vide is one of these things that a lot of restaurants will use. It's a way to hot hold something like salmon or steak, making sure that the internal temperature is absolutely perfect. So if you are serving a lot of people and you want to make sure 18 of those people have their steak perfectly rare and yummy and ready to go, then you sous vide it and hot hold it at the internal temperature that is required. And then you take it out of the sous vide, and then you sear it, and then you serve it.
That's right.
So lots of really, really behind the scenes stories about this. So I want to put this here. Oh my God, Bill, that smells so good.
It is so healthy for you.
Oh, and it's healthy.
You know what? It doesn't get much simpler than this. Why use the canned soup?
Right.
When something this convenient, this healthy, there's no preservatives. There's nothing.
No, I was just going to say.
It's incredible. I love it. I get goosebumps when I talk about it. I like hot sauce, so I add hot sauce to it.
I was just going to say you could totally add hot sauce, and also, so again, it's trusting your source.
Yes.
So if you are the person who it's like, you know what, I just want to open up that can of, you know, blah blah blah, and just put it in a pot and eat it or nuke it or whatever. Absolutely, if that's what makes you happy, you do that.
Yes.
And then when your fingers, you can't kind of make it into a fist because you've retained a ton of water from that sodium. That's why. Make sure you get your water in. But if you have a trusted source or you yourself enjoy doing this, you are in control of what you're seasoning. Now, you were saying there's not a high sodium count in this.
There isn't sodium in this.
So there's no salt.
There's no reason for us to put salt.
Right.
The only salt that I would use for my life, and I always tell people when I'm talking to them, is a Himalayan salt.
Oh, the Himalayan pink salt or rock salt.
Because it's sea salt that's gone to the earth and has gone through the layers and pulls all the minerals together.
Right.
And the body recognizes it as healthy.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to put salt in, put Himalayan salt.
Right, and season after the fact. Don't season before. Taste it. Season afterwards. I really want to be eating this, but I know that would be rude, and we've got so much other food that we want to talk about.
Yes.
So we'll get to that. But yeah, I always say that table salt is only good if you have a thyroid problem. That's it. Don't use table salt.
I've never touched it.
No. So let's talk about these products, because this is something that we offer at the gym at Back to Basics. Because fitness, you know, unfortunately, I know this is embarrassing for you because you're not fit in any way, shape, or form. Like, no, you've never worked out. You couldn't. I couldn't hang from your arm. And but the thing about working out, because you work with a lot of athletes. The thing about working out is that you can go to the gym 11 times a week. You can work out for 20 hours a week. But if you're not putting good food into your body or letting your body take or absorb the fuel that you need, it doesn't matter how often you go to the gym, you're not going to actually, you're not going to look like this. You know what I'm saying?
God has created everybody different.
Yes.
We all have different body structures. We have metabolism and so forth. I've never been a guy who focuses on the exterior of a person. I'm more concentrated on your interior.
Right.
Now that I'm in my 50s, the time slot is small.
Yes.
It's getting shorter. I really focus in on what's going on inside your body. And it's like the old saying, food is thy medicine, medicine isn't thy food. If you're putting the wrong food into your body, your body's going to react to it because you're in control of where your hand's going.
Right.
And that's why I love the food industry. That's why I love the collaboration that I have with chefs and gyms and people in the fitness industry, so we can change what's happening out there when it comes to food.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear that's going on outside with food, right? And especially when we are in this industry. I mean, I'm very ecologically minded, and I get people who say, why are you using plastic?
Yes.
Well, because Plastic is a great natural preservative. You're not adding salt or preservatives in this because you are vacuum sealing. You're using a healthy, if you can call it healthy plastic to do that.
Yes.
And you're portion controlling. So here's in front of us, I just want to show the viewers at home that we've got things like you've got some broccoli that's beautifully packaged, you've got sweet potatoes here, you've got Brussels sprouts, which I love, and then you've got your protein. So people can contact you and say, and do this online, and you're across Ontario, because we have absolutely amazing viewers who are in like Whitby and Markham and Uxbridge, Orangeville, hi to everybody there, as well as Georgina, that I know we're looking at this going, I know I could do this because I have a vacuum sealer, but I'm kind of interested in learning how to portion control. They can order this online?
Yes, they can, and you can pick what portions you want.
Right. So you have these ready to go, but really if I wanted, is this, this looks like it's cauliflower. Oh, it's rice. So this is rice. So if I was like, oh, I like this fish, and I like the asparagus, but I think I want to have the sweet potato instead of rice.
You're in charge, not us.
I can do that.
100%.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And now all of these, I can put this in again, and this is going to take, again, about a minute and a half.
Yeah,
2 minutes?
You're talking 2 to 3 minutes at the max.
Okay.
And they stay in your freezer.
Fantastic.
So until you want to use them.
I'm just going to max power this again.
That's the beauty with this, is that you're in charge, not us, on how you want to portion it, and how you want to, what sizes.
I'm going to do the fish, and I'm going to do the asparagus.
Yep.
I think that would be very yummy. And I think maybe you've got some beautiful beef here.
Yeah, that's a flank steak.
Yum. Okay, I'm going to put flank steak in.
You've got the baked potato. This one here's a lemon herb baked potato.
I'm totally putting in the lemon herb baked potato.
And whatever green you want. I always like to have a green with any proteins, and that's what we do.
I'm going to go with Brussels sprouts. Okay, so right now it's like you have 2 people in your house who want to eat 2 totally different things, or you have 4 people in your house who want to eat totally different things. Guess what? You can answer, this is a restaurant, and yes, I'll give you what you want, child, because you can actually do that when you do this. And you have it in your again, 1 day of prepping, or 2 days of prepping for you, or beep, boop, 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 boop. He's already got it done, and you're eating very, very well. And I like that you have these, because once you've done this, if let's say you're at work or at school or whatever, all you have to do is just put it back into here. All right, we put it into the sous vide. When we come back, we're going to plate and eat some yummy, yummy treats. Stay tuned.
Jean-Marie! Fire! The neighbor's farm is on fire. It's almost to the road. It's heading for us.
Help me get the animals out of the barn.
The fire's getting closer.
I'm on the horse.
The house is burning.
Get out to the river. Get up.
Can't leave everything. Careful. Don't fall.
Come on. We have to hurry.
Hurry. There's the river. We're going to make it. I can't swim.
Yes, you can.
Hurry, hurry.
You must get in.
I can't.
Watch out for Spark.
His hair's on fire.
Keep their hair wet.
In May 1870, fires raged along the Saguenay River for more than 150 kilometers, destroying land and lives. One family survived by dousing themselves all night against the searing heat. One family, among the thousands whose resourcefulness and courage shaped the character of this land.
I took this picture of my wife when she was near death, waiting for a liver transplant. And this is her now.
Hello, I'm Lise Breckenridge. A liver transplant saved my life.
What can I say? You be the judge.
Your donation will help Canadians understand the importance of pledging to be an organ donor,
And it will help save the lives of so many more.
as it has for us.
On Saturday, November 9th, John Moxley versus Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega the Myth seems to think I'm some kind of joke. Are you ready to sacrifice it all?
Cody versus Chris Jericho.
The man continues to reinvent himself.
There is nothing that Chris Jericho has that scares me. For the AEW World Championship.
And Le Champion is going to celebrate with a little bit of the bubbly.
All Elite Wrestling presents Full Gear. Live Saturday, November 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Only on pay-per-view.
Sanitary. And this is
I'm
Bill. Yeah. And together we are, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
You know, like Wonder Twin Powers Activate.
100%.
There's a bunch of viewers out there going, Wonder Twins? And there's a bunch of viewers
That's,
going, yeah, the Wonder Twins. Bill and I have something in common, aside from the fact that we're both awesome. Just kidding. He's awesome.
No, you don't kid.
We love food. We love food. We love health. We love making people happy with food. And also, we're the people who are thinking about what can we do to not only make our lives easier, but your lives easier.
100%.
So before the break, I poured these lovely bowls of soup, which both happen to be vegan. And I'm saying this not to be nice to Bill. They smell awesome. I cannot wait to taste them. We also took the time to put some stuff into our handy dandy sous vide. You don't have to actually buy a sous vide. You can make your own, and this is what we've done using the pots. And we've done a bunch of different kind of combinations of things. So right now, I don't know if you can see, I'm going to keep this pot open so that you can kind of maybe get a glimpse into the top. All of the food that Bill and his team have provided, they are already cooked. I'm going to say probably to like the 85-90% mark.
That's correct.
And then that way, when we reheat it, it's not going to be rubbery or overcooked in any way.
Not at all, because it actually cooks in its own natural juices.
Right.
So that's the beauty, is that anything that would be in the package, you want to make sure you're getting that in your body, because that's the nutrients.
Right.
And I say that's very good with the greens too, because when we steam our vegetables, that's why the water turns green. All the nutrients are going in there.
Right.
So if you do steam, use that water, let it cool down, and use it to feed your plants, because the plants get all the nutrients. It's a win-win situation.
I never
Do not
thought
dump
of that.
it down the sink. Yeah, it's beautiful. The Europeans were brilliant when they created this method of cooking. Right. And now I think some other companies now are looking at that practice.
Right.
Because it's the safest way for us to consume ready-to-eat food.
Right.
I can't emphasize that enough. For children and seniors, more so, because their digestive tracts.
Right, and that's the thing. You know, if a company that you have heard of has gotten Listeria or E. coli, we happen to be talking about this, and not to put you off or anything like that, but if you ever hear of a company or a place that has an E. coli breakout, 99.9% of the time, it's because of one employee who did not wash their hands, because that's generally how something like that happens. It can happen anywhere, and that's why you try to be as diligent as humanly possible, because you're a business, and you also want to make sure that your reputation perceives itself in a positive way.
You want to protect not only yourself, but the people that are trusting you with their products.
Exactly. So look at these gorgeous, gorgeous Brussels sprouts. Oh my gosh, that green is stunning.
Isn't it beautiful?
It is, and that's the thing, because when you are at home and you're boiling these, they get to that dingy kind of color, and it's never pretty. So I'm going to do a little combo plate with the Brussels sprouts, these gorgeous potatoes.
Yeah, that's real. Those are so
and
nice.
shall I go with the jerk chicken?
This one right here is the flank steak.
This is the flank steak,
That's
I
the
should
flank
say.
steak.
All right, so I'm going to put the flank steak here.
Yeah.
And then we have some gorgeous fish.
Yes, that's a beautiful tilapia, I believe that one is. Yeah.
Stunning. With, again, look at the green on this.
Those asparagus are beautiful. Oh my God, they're so good for you.
And now, how much would you say, like calorie-wise, or are these like in like the 400 or less calories?
These are a 4-ounce portion, and you know the beauty is that a 4-ounce portion is all you need.
Right.
All you need. You shouldn't be overloading your digestive tract with anything more than a 4-ounce portion. This one here's the spinach. So, and look, you see the water in there?
I
See
do.
inside?
Yes.
You see all that beautiful right in there? Do not dump that. Get that into your body.
Absolutely.
It's so good for you.
And I love that you were saying you could use that water for plants.
I know.
I never thought of that. I always make a joke. I'm going to guess that there are folksy wokes at home that are going to finish this joke for me, because I make it all the time. I say I don't have a green thumb. I have a gangrene thumb. And that's why I'm a chef, because I feel guilt in killing things, so I feel like we should eat it.
Yeah.
And this is so nice and hot. I'm sure you can see the steam coming off of it. I don't want to burn my hands, but it's so easy to do this as well.
It really is, and you know, for seniors too that want to stay in their home.
Yes.
There's a really a push on having seniors stay home, and the thing is, though, they still want to cook for themselves and feel independent. So all they simply have to, you don't ever have to worry about a fire or anything, because even if you put them in the meals in there and the phone rings and the senior goes to answer it and forgets it, half an hour later, it's still good for you.
Exactly. It's hot
There's no
holding.
waste.
There's no way to burn this.
And there's no waste.
Right.
Food waste is a big problem in the industry, and there isn't any. You're getting exactly what your body needs.
Exactly. And I always say this to people. When you're cooking, you can always add, you can't take away.
Yes.
And so oh my God, this smells
nice?
so good.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah. You can, I just cannot wait to eat this. My mouth is watering, and I don't want to gob on the plate because that would just not make for good TV. But this, you're saying, is all portion controlled under 400 calories?
Well, this right there is under 400 calories. Yeah.
Right. So as a typical adult is like looking to get in about 2,200 to 2,500, depending on your fitness level and your age and your gender. So if you were eating 3 of these, that's like 1,200 calories. You've got so much more room. But if you look at this plate, it is full, like full.
Your digestive tract is going to be saying thank you because it understands real food.
Exactly. I love this. And it's fresh. And look at it this way. Let's say you are a person who's like, you know what, Corey, I know that you're saying don't add salt and this and the other thing. If you wanted to, you could always build on this. And that was my point of saying you can add, but don't take away. Why not have a good portion-controlled meal? Oh my gosh, this is really hot.
Yeah.
Have a good portion-controlled meal, and if you're still hungry, then make a salad or something to go with this,
look at how easy and how beautiful the colors are.
And look at how beautiful this fish is.
Yeah.
Oh, it is stunning.
Yes.
I want to be eating this right now.
It's so simple and so healthy. And there's no excuse for not eating healthy.
No.
There isn't.
No.
There really isn't.
And so what we have in front of you here, just so that you can kind of see just how easy that was. I mean, seriously, the water came to a boil, we hot held it. When I say you can't burn it, I mean you can't burn this food. But if you walk away from this and leave it boiling and the water boils out, yeah, you're going to burn stuff. You're going to burn the plastic. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But looking here, we've got, you were saying this is a beautiful jerk.
A jerk chicken, and you got your spinach, and you got your brown rice.
Right, so when you look at these meals, it's always great to have a nice balanced meal. I know that there are a lot of people who want to eliminate carbs. I'm not a person who believes in elimination diets. I think that's not a good idea, and I can't even believe it, we're actually out of time.
Yeah.
If you want to get a hold of me or Bill to get these lovely foods or ideas to how you can make this, please go to www.rogerstevie.com or to www.chefcorey.com. And you can also check out Bill's website on here, I hope.
Yes, jwfoods.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank
You're
you.
so awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time. I'm going to start eating because I earned it.
Yes.
Take care.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
For 25 years, you've been helping to make our roads safer by doing the right thing. You've been the designated driver, you've stayed over, called home, you've called a cab or a friend, and planned ahead. Let's keep doing the right thing. Support sober driving by getting yourself and your friends home safely.
Do the right thing.
Visit ArriveAlive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive. Drive sober.
We got a mission.
That sounds like the bad guys teaming up. It's only just begun.
Whoa.
Rogers TV, Durham Region. The opinions expressed in the following program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers nor Rogers TV.
Actually, we haven't been away for that long because in season 5 we ended up doing 10 episodes instead of the regular 8. So we took a month off. I went with some friends to a cottage in North Kawartha. Hi, North Kawartha. I love you. You're a fantastic area. And I hear Kat and Boyd had a very busy summer, and we're back and ready to roll. Welcome, everyone. Give yourself a big round of applause. Yeah. Hope you're all doing fantastic and you had a grand summer as well. We are coming to you from Berkeley Bicycle Club in Toronto, where we're almost ready to wrap up our residency here. We're moving to a really iconic community space, Buddies in Bad Times Theatre. You all know it. For those who know this, who don't know the space, it is one of the most well-known and respected theatre spaces in really the whole world for the queer community. So I'll tell you more about Buddies when we get there. But before we leave, I want to hugely thank Berkeley Bicycle Club, who's been our home for the last couple of years. They've been so kind to us, so supportive, so incredible. And let's give them some love. Yeah. And actually, we've got Jonathan here. Stand up, Jonathan, and give us a little final bow.
Cheers.
Thank you for all your help. Thank you. Make sure to support them, everyone. If you ever need a venue for your event, they are fabulous people. And a lot of our audience and guests have took the tour of this stunning mansion. So, and everybody really loves it. Speaking of support, just a general reminder, when we see somebody or a business advertising, supporting us, donating space, hosting our events, we should support them back. It's the best way that we can show our appreciation for those who help us. This is the premiere episode of season 6. Yay! And I can't believe we made it this far, but thank you for the love. You really helped. Our fans have helped keep us going. We've got a lot of amazing plans for expansions, a new home, some hot off the chart guests for this season. So keep hanging with us because we're gonna take you into some very new, fantastic places. Kat Grant is on the set of feature film Salty Watermelons. Sounds yummy. And she's going to be chatting with the cast there. And our own Boyd Kodak will be visiting with amazing drag artist, Pretty Ricky. So it's going to be a great episode. But also, I'm very excited about this episode because something very special and very iconic is going to happen on this show. And I'll tell you more about that shortly. This is why it's going to be cool. We're going to be talking about the Great Imposters. And the Great Imposters is one of those legend drag troupes in our history, in our community. If you haven't heard of them, read about them, search online. We wouldn't have the drag that we have now in Canada if we didn't have those pioneers who led the way in a time when it was very, very hard to do what they've done back then. Just as exciting, I have our main guest is the one and only, a drag legend herself, Divine-esque.
Thank you for having me.
She's going to be telling us all about the Great Imposters, her life, her art, and her history, and a lot of amazing things. Welcome to the couch. I've been wanting to have you on here for a long time.
Well, I mean, 6 years, better late than never.
So let's begin with you giving us a bit of history rundown of the Great Imposters. What do you know about them.
What I know about the Great Imposters, first and foremost, is that my drag mother, Michelle DeBerry, was one of the founding members. And the troupe goes back to the 70s, and I venture to say, arguably, it is probably the oldest drag brand in Canada, if not probably one of the oldest drag brands in North America.
Yeah.
And they were bringing cabaret and a little bit of Vegas and a little bit of body humor and some glamour and a lot of fun to the outlying regions, primarily of Ontario and Canada.
So not just in Toronto.
Oh, heavens no. Toronto was the last place the Great Imposters would play.
Okay.
The Great Imposters were interested in taking their art to the outlying areas where people wanted some kind of entertainment like that, but couldn't get into the city.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And courageous.
Courageous, yes. I would say they were inadvertent activists, if that makes sense. Inadvertent activists.
To do drag back then was activism.
Well, it was subversive.
Yeah.
It was subversive. It was colorful. It was, eyebrow raising. And I mean, it was very different then than it is now. Actually, I kind of wish drag today still had that feel about it.
There's new people doing new exciting things. But yes, you led the way, and we are really appreciative for that.
Well, it was fun.
Let's talk about there's a new generation of the Great Imposters.
Yes.
That's what we were talking about.
What I'm trying to do with the Great Imposters new generation is because I was a Great Imposter.
I was part of it.
Oh, yes, of course I was. Yes, I was trained and groomed by Michelle after Michelle left the Great Imposters.
Okay.
And then I worked under Rusty Ryan, who was the other founder of the Great Imposters with Michelle DeBerry.
Okay.
So I worked under Rusty, Danny, Jackie, and Leslie O'Shea, and Fancy, and I learned about cabaret drag art from them. And it was a different kind of drag than is going around now. And I think it's time to try and maybe take a look back, because unless you take a look back, how can you possibly know where you're going to go?
We're going to do something a little unique and very special on TV. We're going to drag legend and royalty. The originator of the Great Imposters, Michelle DeBerry, is in the audience. And we're going to invite Michelle to come up and basically pass the torch, the baton, to the new generation.
Well, that would be nice. That's my mama.
That's your mom.
That's my mom.
So, Michelle, come join us.
Yes, kiss the ring.
Kiss the ring.
It's a holy relic.
Are you going to pass that on to Divine-esque?
May I give it to you?
Of course you may.
Okay. Can I get it off?
Oh, can you get it off?
Thank
Here,
you.
let's find a finger for it.
Oh. That one?
That one. That works beautifully.
I guess my turn now to kiss that.
Is it in?
Oh.
I mean, yeah.
Here, I'll kiss the ring.
There you go, Antoine. Thank you, darling. Thank you, Mama.
Thank you both for showing us how community is and all generation and new generation together. So we're going to take a little break. We're going to check in with Kat Grant, and we're going to be right back. So don't go anywhere. All right.
Thank you, Mama.
Securing your recycling in a few steps is simple, like crushing your cans and bottles down in your container's blue box and your box board down in your papers box. This saves a lot of space and reduces the possibility of material blowing out of your blue box on windy days.
They served to protect our homes. Now many are homeless. They fought for our way of life. Now many are fighting personal battles of their own. They answered the call for our country. Now we honor them by serving our communities. Help us help Canada's veterans. Become a Legion member today.
Hey everyone, it's Kat Grant here. I'm in Tweed at the Beach Hollow Resort with the cast of Salty Watermelons, the movie. They're going to introduce yourselves and then we'll tell you what the movie's about. Check it out.
Hi there, my name is Catherine Daupichette. I'm a francophone Montreal actor, and you can follow me on Cat is Out There for my following projects. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Krista Barzo. You can follow me on my website at kristabarzo.com and Instagram at Krista Barzo, and you can find out more about my latest short film project that was completely 100% crewed by women at DNA Movie on Instagram.
Hi, I'm Angela Vanderwall. You can find me on Instagram at Angela G. Vanderwall.
Hi, I'm Cassidy Siviero. I'm a sex-positive bisexual actor and screenwriter. My first screenplay, I'm in Love with All My Friends, was distributed by the Fearless app. It's an LGBTQ streaming app. Check it out. You can find me at facebook.com/CassSivy to follow me on my journey through this life.
Hi, I'm Nancy Lowe. I am the executive producer and actress at Salty Watermelons. You can find me on LinkedIn. I have a couple of children's shows I'd like to get out there, so anybody interested, let me know.
Hi, I'm Cindy Choi, producer, makeup artist, software engineer, knitter extraordinaire. You can follow me on Instagram at Cinderbug78.
Hey guys, I'm Ed Robinson. You can find me in downtown Toronto. Come to the TR Lounge, we'll hang out.
Hi guys, I'm Michael Juga and I'm an actor, and you can follow me on Instagram at Mikey Juga. Same thing with my Twitter.
What's up guys, Michael Mazurkovic, actor.Michael on Instagram, Michael Mazurkovic on Facebook, very open to new friends on Facebook as well, and I keep things relatively fresh.
Hi, I'm Will Primrose, the mad genius and creator, writer, and producer of Salty Watermelons. I can be found at saltywatermelonsthemovie@gmail.com.
Kevin Jacob, man. Can be found at Act Like a Monster at Instagram and Kevin Jacob Monster on Facebook. Peace, man.
Hi guys, I'm Paul Arcos from Barrie, Ontario. You guys can find me on Facebook, and I'm play Jack Shellac, the meanest Canuck, the all-world nerd.
Hi, my name's Savon Masters Johnson, and you could find me on Instagram at SMJ Flames, and also my new one, Lucid Nexus, standing for Lucid Nexus Productions. And you can also find me on Facebook as well. I do camera and DOP, and I hope to see you soon someday.
So now I'm sitting with Angela, who is actually not just an actress in this, but is directing. So, Angela, please tell everybody what the movie's about.
Yes, Salty Watermelons is a screwball comedy. It's a quintessential Canadian story. It's set on an island in Nova Scotia that the world has totally forgotten. It's a story of the people that live there, their shenanigans, their quest for independence, understanding, love, magnificence, and the lengths that they'll go to achieve those things. So we think it's going to be a pretty funny movie.
Great. How long do you think it'll be before it comes out?
We are hoping to have it done for early spring.
2020.
2020. 2020 already.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it. It was fun taking part. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So you can find out more also at #SaltyWatermelonsTheMovie. All right, check it out. We'll see you soon.
Wow, we're back, everyone. Yay.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Hi, cheers.
Thank you. That was something, okay?
Well, yeah, my mama is a legend and was a...
I love her.
I love Mama too. You know, Russell Aldred is my mama's boy name.
The real name.
Has been my father.
Yeah.
Michelle has been my mother, has given me home, has given me rides, has given me clothing, has given me money, has given me meals, has been a true parent.
You know what? And really a true fantastic person. I was watching recently some old footage of you performing at Club Kobe's.
Oh my
Which is a
gosh.
legend of a club back in our history.
Long
I'm
time
not going to say
ago.
how long ago. That was not age either of us. But you were doing the amazing Anne Murray.
Anne Murray, yes.
And brilliantly, I might add.
Thank you.
Over the years, who else have you done?
Well, Anne Murray was my closest look-alike. I also did Carol Channing. I did Charo. Yeah.
Wow.
And I did Ethel Merman. And I did some of Lily Tomlin's characters as well. Anything that was kind of light and uplifting and funny. But Anne, I always took very seriously. My impersonation of Anne, I always took very seriously. Because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Anne Murray's music. I love her work. I love what she did for the Canadian music industry.
Yeah, she's a good person. Have you met Anne?
I've met Anne, yes.
Awesome.
She said, "Aren't you a bit big to be doing me?"
But so now that begs the question: why did you get into drag?
I got into drag because I came to Toronto thinking I was going to be a musical theater star.
Okay, so you wanted to be an entertainer.
I wanted to be a musical theater star, but there was no musical theater. Everything was very dark and gloomy at that time. I mean, musical theater didn't hit Toronto until the late 80s and early 90s and all these big musical productions. So
you made your own journey.
I made my own. Well, I met Michelle. At the Homo Hop at U of T.
Wow.
And she walked in and I went, oh my God, I want to be her. And here I am. Well, I'm not her, but.
You are Brian Greenwood.
I am.
What makes your creation Divine-esque unique?
Divine-esque is inspired and informed by Divine.
Yeah.
But what makes it unique is that as a record producer and recording artist, I was able to address Divine's musical catalog, update it, give it a new musical sound, and readdress it. And I brought it out. And do you know, Antoine, so many of the young people thought that it was all new and original music they'd never heard before.
You're kidding.
You know, I bought it.
Go for it. Tell them that it is.
But no, I was always very careful to give credit to Divine and Bobby Orlando, who wrote the music.
I can see you being very respectful of
yes.
And other than Kobe's, you also performed in some of the most iconic spaces. Run them by us.
Well, I started at the Manatee, April the 18th, 1981. At 2 o'clock in the morning. So it was really the 19th. Also Katrina's, Colby's, Tracks, Bar 1. I did really well at Chaps and Badlands. Occasionally I was at Boots. And then the culmination, I would say the culmination of my career was when I was working for Evening at Lacage Dinner Theatre, which was in the late 80s and early 90s. Yes. Now, back in the day, the late 80s and early 90s, the girls who worked at Lacage were like the RuPaul girls are today. We were the queens of the queens.
I know.
At that time, yes. And it certainly is a time I look back on with a lot of very fond memories and actually a lot of respect also for the people I worked with.
Beautiful. For anybody who's from the younger generation in our community, if you haven't heard of those clubs, look them up. They really are iconic in what got us to where we are today. Drag becomes a family. Is that accurate or not?
Well, I have to say that backstage with the Great Imposters, we were very much a family. Yeah. And backstage at Lacage also, we were very much a family.
Do you see this prevalent today as it was in the past?
No.
No.
I find there's a generation that's more concerned with the 5 seconds of fame you're going to get on Instagram.
Huh. Well, let's change that and make us our family again. So.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
I'm always about togetherness and family.
Oh, absolutely.
You're also known in the community for something other than your drag, and that's your bling. Is this your creation?
These are my earrings. Thank you very much. Crystal Countess is my high-end line, and then I have a stage line that's called Shady Queen.
Oh, cool. Yeah. All right.
Shady Queen.
Well, do you sell them online?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I have Facebook pages for both brands. Crystal Countess and Shady Queen have Facebook page.
Check them out, guys.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a little break. We're going to check in now with Boyd Kodak, who's going to be talking to Pretty Ricky, and we'll be back right after this. So don't leave us. Stay with us. Bye.
Securing your recycling in a few steps is simple, like bundling your cardboard separately. These bundles can act as a lid for your blue box or placing heavier items such as magazines on top of papers with no material above the rim.
At St. John Ambulance, we're all about community. We teach life-saving skills and provide community support through our volunteer services. All St. John Ambulance product sales and training registrations support these important services. Volunteer, donate, or enroll in a program today so we can continue to have an impact on our community. Visit sja.ca to learn more. At St. John Ambulance, we do more than save lives, we change lives.
On this brand new edition of The Social Life, we're talking all about the new iPhone 11. And we've got some last-minute costume ideas to get you through the Halloween season.
Plus, we talk to a hair expert about fall hair trends.
Hi, Boyd Kodak here. This episode I have with me Pretty Ricky. Pretty Ricky goes by he and they and is the founder of East King Productions.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome. Tell us about a little bit about East King Productions and the focus of...
East King Productions, I started about 2 years ago, and actually before that I had another company called Pretty Money Productions, which was run by myself and one of my best friends, Spencer Money. And then we decided to go separate ways, and I started East King Productions just to be able to provide a safer, inclusive space for drag kings and gender performers. Because after Zipper's cell block closed, there was absolutely no space for drag kings at all, really, to perform, and we just kind of like disappeared, and there wasn't really many kings around. There was like Maximum Capacity and Drag King Flair, and those guys that would do performances in like burlesque shows and stuff, but we never really had anything that was our own.
Your own show?
Yes.
So you created your own show, and now you
Yes.
have multiple?
Yeah, so my main monthly show is called Kings and Classics. We're going to be 3 years old in January. I also host and produce a trans and queer all ages open mic night out of Glad Day Bookshop. We have kids that come anywhere from like 7 up until late. Yeah, so we have it all the way from like youth to seniors that come to this open mic night, and everybody is just like there together and talking about their life or like their spoken word and their poetry. Some people sing, some people do comedy. Like, it's just the most amazing environment.
Embrace?
I do Embrace and Kings and Classics. I also collab with other producers here and there with other shows, but House of Kings is run by Zachy Lime and Alexander Brandy. Zachy Lime's in the audience right now. They also help produce King shows and provide space as well. So now the Kings are kind of taking over the scene again, and you can almost find a King and gender performer in like most shows and most venues now, because like it was mentioned earlier in the show, the newer generation is coming up and just fucking shit up with like non-binary. There's no such thing as like rules and limitations. You can come, you can be your weird self, you can do what you want and just perform and be you and who you want to be.
Where can we find you online so we can follow your show?
We have social media on Facebook. You can find us at East King Productions. Instagram is also East King Productions. You can find House of Kings at House of Kings on Facebook and Instagram as well. You can follow my personal page at Pretty Ricky. There we have all details and updates on shows. Buddies in Bad Times Theater. They have been our home for the last 3 years, so thanks to them again, providing amazing queer space all the time.
How did you pick your name?
My personal name, I've had the nickname Pretty Ricky since I was in high school. I didn't just give it to myself, believe it or not. I've had a bunch of different drag names. Actually, when I first started was at Zippers about 10 years ago, and my first name was Alex Belong. And then it was something a little inappropriate with also Alex, but I'm not going to say it out loud because it's embarrassing. And then I also went by the name Romeo and Juliet when I came out of retirement, because I retired from drag for about 5 years. And then I decided, you know what, like, I vibe with Pretty Ricky, so that's just going to be how I'm known. Like, most people call me Pretty Ricky either way. And
Nice.
East King Productions, I created East King because I'm from Scarborough and I'm a king.
So there you
So
go.
I'm from the east side of Toronto, you know? So that's how I got East King Productions.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Future plans that you should...
I mean, as of right now, I think that the community is doing pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I think it's pretty amazing. I mean, you've really brought...
Yeah, so there's not really future plans for East King. I'm just going to continue doing Kings and Classics. I'm going to continue doing Embrace. Mostly, I'm just kind of here if younger folks need some help and want a little stepping stone into the community, into the performance world. I'm just kind of here to give them their wings, I guess.
If you want to get into performing, contact Pretty Ricky, and he'll see if he can find a spot for you.
For sure.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
We are back! Yeah. Thank you. We're going to switch gears a bit now and talk about you and your life.
Wonderful.
Let's start with growing up. Tell us about family.
Southwestern Ontario.
Where?
Burford, the Lake Erie Plains, Tobacco Farm.
Tobacco Farm?
Tobacco Farm, yes. I was born and raised on a tobacco farm.
Family?
4 older sisters that I was born and raised with. A brother and sister that I found later in life when I was 46 years old.
Still close?
Close with all of them. I'm the youngest of the 5 in the birth family, so I had 4 older sisters and a single mother. So I was raised by a family of women, and I think that's where Divine-esque. I think that's where Divine-esque comes from. I've always viewed women as protectors, as mentors, as teachers, as strong, and when I'm like this, that's how I feel too. So this character inside me protects me.
That's wonderful. You have a partner in life, or is it?
I do. His name is James, and he's a workaholic, and he's working tonight.
Here.
He's not here with me, no. But no. Next question, please.
You don't live in Toronto these days. You moved somewhere. Where did you move? Why did you move?
Moved to Kitchener-Waterloo because Kitchener-Waterloo, yes, because it's a big city and it's the home of bratwurst and beer and great big sausages, right, Darren?
I can. Over the years, have you been involved in any other scenes or causes in the LGBT community other than drag?
Many. I think for every $5 tip I get on stage, I donate another 10 back to the community, really.
So you are into causes.
I am into causes, yes.
We're going to wrap up with our quick questions. So
okay.
Ready here.
Oh, are these rapid fire?
Yeah.
Oh, I better sit
answer
back.
the first thing that comes to mind. Okay.
First thing.
Your favorite season of the year?
Fall.
Tiara or not tiara?
Big fucking crown.
What color do you most like to work with when you are making jewelry?
Fuchsia.
What color theme is your bedroom?
Earth tones.
Nice. A walk by the beach or TV binge watching?
The beach with Darren.
Nice. Favorite drag themed movie?
Favorite what?
Drag themed movie.
Oh, Priscilla.
Yeah. And you're throwing a dinner party for all of us, everyone here. What would you make us?
Lasagna and salad. And
lastly, last words to our community and to our viewers at home, whatever you want to say to us.
Well, it's a sensitive time right now. The Republicans are in power in the United States, and, you know, we have a guy that wears a tribble on his head as the president. And I think it's important to remember in Canada, remember the party that made us not be criminals. Okay. Who legalized our sexual orientation. Remember the party that granted us marriage rights. Remember the party that gave us same-sex benefits. Remember the party that protects us. And remember that finances take care of themselves. It isn't always about the money. It's about how safely we can walk down the street.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Yes.
Hot. Oh.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, join us for future filming. We have such a blast here. You
Clearly.
can write us via Facebook, facebook.com. Join us on the couch. And tickets are free. We serve pizza. So hope to see you in the audience. Last year, we reminded you again and again that it's all about love. This year, let's remind ourselves that even when things don't seem perfect in our world, we got one another. As community and people in general, and our world has so much beauty, so let's never forget that. Stay beautiful, my friends. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And here's the wrap to premiere of season 6. Next week. Yeah.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Your mouth can do a lot of amazing things. And your mouth can save a life.
Hi, I'm Tom Wong. I'm just one of close to 1,000 Canadians in search of a stem cell match. We need your help.
A simple swab is all you need to register on the National Stem Cell Database. You could be the one to save a life. Find the hero in you.
Hick Talk, start the clock.
Critics everywhere agree you need to watch Letterkenny.
That's a Texas size 10-4.
Deftly crafted and oddly poignant.
We are in the platinum age of television.
Crave has every episode.
Can confirm.
Of every season.
Get it?
Got it.
Good. Now that's a show.
Letterkenny, now streaming. Only on Crave.
This is Rogers TV. The opinions expressed in the following program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers nor Rogers TV.
Oh, hey everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the season finale of Digital Circus. I'm host Tyler Hodgkinson. It's been an incredible ride filming the show, and I can't wait until you get to see what we have planned for season 2. But since the very first episode, it's been my goal to interview the man who inspired me, both in my childhood and adult years, to dream big. I know that sounds really cheesy, but it's true. As the host of Electric Playground for more than 20 years, Victor Lucas has earned one of the greatest legacies in this business, and it was an honor to interview the master interviewer. Here's our chat from Fan Expo Canada in September. I'm here with the one, the only, Victor Lucas at Fan Expo Canada.
Hello.
You're here promoting your 8-bit beans.
Yes.
You're here...
We've got a coffee now, which is just incredible. Like the Brad, who runs 8-bit beans and also Deadly Grounds, he reached out earlier this year and he said, I've got this idea. I want to make a coffee around EP and you. And I went, that's ridiculous and crazy, but I think it's wonderful. And I said, of course, let's do it. And so he bounced some ideas off me, and it ended up being a version of our set. It's called the Espresso Playground Coffee, and they made me an 8-bit pixel art dude, and I've never looked better than that right there, right? I look amazing.
It's pretty good. Yeah, well, you've been into the industry for a long time covering games.
Yeah, 25 years.
Yeah. So how have you seen the industry change throughout those years?
You know, in a lot of ways, some incredible sort of achievements in terms of visual fidelity and audio fidelity, and lots of different ways to access the game consumer out there, but also in a lot of ways not enough. You know, there's been some incredible recent news with this idea of bringing people in for subscription models. Nintendo's about to drop their online store or their online plan for Switch owners out there, and it's really going to be about paying a monthly fee and having access to titles. Of course, PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Gold offer some stuff, but Xbox just recently did something where that seems like an incredible way to attract a lot of people, where it's called Xbox All Access. It's not available in Canada, unfortunately.
Right, of course.
But the idea that you could subscribe to a console, own the console, so it's kind of rent to own, and all of the online service and access to like more than 100 games, that's exciting. That's kind of a major kind of shift in thinking, because I feel like one of the major issues with video games, I've said this for years, is that incredible price barrier to entry. It's a luxury item that most people just don't have the wherewithal to say, I'm going to try everything. They can't. So they choose one. Like, it's every time I tweet out, what are you playing right now? I'm always astounded that it's games that are 6 months old or a year old, you know, because I'm in the business of talking about the current and the upcoming and the new. And so when I see stuff from viewers that is very much about, well, I can only really afford to play the Steam sale games, or this thing's free this month, or whatever, that really drives it home. Games have been too expensive. It costs too much to make that decision, and I think that's held back the medium from a lot of people being able to access, which is the most incredible art form that humans have ever created, you know, and you know that because you play everything. I know that. The cameraman knows that. But a lot of people don't have
He just plays Cuphead, and that's about it.
Well,
no, he plays a lot. I'm just kidding.
No, but seriously, there's a lot to enjoy out there for everyone, and most people don't think about it that way. Pikachu's there to say hello.
Yeah.
Hi, Pikachu. Pika. What excites me is, and what I mean by there hasn't been enough change, is that when I came into this, games were expensive. I've been doing this 25 years. Games are expensive. The core demo that the games industry seems to keep chasing is the same kind of person, you know? And one of the things that has excited me about what I've been able to do with Electric Playground is, you know, we reached families. We got a lot of people to sit and watch this material together, and that was a profound thing, you know? And I would hear from moms, and I would hear from grandparents, and I would hear from little kids that watch the material, and we kind of provided this access point, and I felt like the business needs to do a lot more of that itself.
Right. Well, one of my favorite things about your YouTube channel, actually, is when you do Let's Plays with your daughter.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you.
Yeah. So, like, how's it experiencing games again, kind of through a child's lens?
It's amazing. Yeah, no, it's not easy to engage a child and have them be blown away by the character development and the stories and the action that games provide. What's really cool is to hear them echo the minutia of these plots and these characters and connect with them like they would an episode of Paw Patrol and I've seen that with my daughter firsthand, you know, like she'll remind me of the lore.
And then with your channel too, you talk about all the things that you love. And one of the cool things about going from TV to YouTube is that a lot of people have kind of transitioned because a lot of people are on YouTube. How has it been seeing all the fans that watch the show can now interact with you?
It's amazing. This year we launched what I think is probably the best thing we've made with EP Live because it blends, you know, the scripted stuff, or not scripted, the edited stuff that we would do, not scripted. We don't have time for scripts, but we shoot a lot of stuff.
Well,
and then
if Blake did more work around there, maybe.
We need Blake to do a few more things. No, but we package things together, and then we do a lot of live content and put it all into like a show. And I just wish that I had really pushed on that when I had the bigger TV collective, and we were doing both of those at the same time. But even without all that group of people, I think we're still making something really phenomenal today. And I try to include as many of them as I can, and I reach out to the community as much as I can, and we have awesome guests, and it's really fun. It is, in 2018, absolutely the right way to experience what we do. And to interact with the people through all of that in real time is insane. It's so great, you know, and I have the best viewers of this material in media, you know, because most of them have watched this stuff for a while, they trust what we're about, and there's respect, and it's not just about, you know, this game cost too much and I didn't like it, or, you know, that didn't have enough features for me, or they promised me that. I've got really savvy, intelligent, compassionate, you know, optimists that believe in this medium, that watch our material. So it's really cool. The only thing I don't have with YouTube is that family watching together dynamic, you know? I have it in little bits and pieces, but TV as a platform allows a group of people to gather, you know, which is one thing that I definitely miss. Yeah.
So maybe one final question is, what is the future of EP? Because it's changed so much over the years.
Yeah.
Where do you see it in a few years, even a year from now?
Well, I'm continuing on with EP Live, and we're going to be trying to embellish and add some new components to it and some new ideas. We've done This Day and Everything Cool all year this year. Next year we'll come up with some other kind of a daily kind of element to add to the material. But I really believe in this as a new format. But we're also starting to have more conversations because we have continued to build this material with other potential distribution partners. And what I've realized is the more that we do and the more that we stick to our guns and just make something that we're proud of, cool opportunities keep coming up.
Well, when you're a fan of the product, other people will be a fan of the product a lot of the time.
Yeah, be proud of what you're signing your name to. Doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what job you have. I mean, there's two things. Don't spend your life doing things you hate, you know. Everybody's got to do crap jobs for a little while, for sure, but don't do that forever because you're just not going to be happy in your life. So when you do find things that make you happy, just make sure that you are proud to sign your name to it, you know, and show up every day. Even show up every day when it's a job you don't like, you know, because you're going to learn from that some great lessons that you'll be able to apply elsewhere. But also, don't take any crap from bosses that suck either, you know. You are more valuable as someone that contributes to something than that person that's lording it over you, you know. So always remember that too. Yeah.
Always a valuable lesson from Victor Lucas. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me on.
After the break, my review of Marvel's Spider-Man.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
It is time.
It was John's graduation. We were so proud. We all got together for a picnic. That's when we heard coming from the radio. So we stopped and we listened. It helped us get to safety. That's why when I think of John, because now he has a real future to look forward to.
Well, is it a bird? Is it a plane? You never know what I'm going to paint until you tune in to watch me, Mark Rice, the artist, paint an acrylic painting from start to finish in 1 hour here on Rogers TV.
That totally worked last time. Yuri, they still doing construction on 42nd and 1st?
Street's closed for another month. Why?
Next stop, prison.
The more I played the newest Spider-Man game, the more apparent it became it may just be my favorite game of all time. Yes, of all time. The newest adventure from the web slinger offers everything I expected while adding some spectacular surprises and truly amazing moments. See what I did there? First and foremost, I want it to be known that this instant classic is not perfect. Just because it may be my favorite game doesn't mean I believe it to be the best game. There are a few unnecessary gameplay and cinematic sequences, and combat isn't as fluid as it could be. What may be the biggest issue for some is that it feels too familiar. Borrowing heavily from the open world games before it, mainly the Batman Arkham series, Spider-Man follows a lot of tropes found in the genre. From unlocking side missions and collectible locations by clearing towers, to a generic skill tree progression, there isn't much that the game originates. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Nearly everything Spider-Man does, borrowed or not, is done extremely well. Its perfect pacing makes every section as thrilling as the last. Even the low-energy puzzle moments playing as Peter Parker are just as exciting as the bombastic action sequences. You're never stuck in one style of gameplay for long, which makes it easy to find yourself slipping into long sessions with the game. I personally spent hours with my hands glued to the controller and my eyes fixated on the TV just because I didn't want to end my time with the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Another reason why this game is difficult to put down is the incredible story that unfolds over the 15 or so hours it takes to complete it. Already established as Spider-Man and working alongside the physically deteriorating Dr. Octavius, Peter Parker attempts to juggle his private and professional life in hopes of creating a better world for both Manhattan and his mentor. When Mayor Norman Osborn shuts down funding for Octavius' project to help cure his rapidly increasing immobility, the infamous Doctor rises to seek revenge on those who stand in his way, most notably someone whose name rhymes with Spider-Pan. What I love most about the story is the fact that it respects the source material, including the characters' general looks and traits, yet isn't afraid to take liberties. Mary Jane is the biggest example of this, as the wildly intelligent character is still the love interest for Peter Parker, but is less confident and more internally conflicted. That isn't to say she isn't a strong-willed figure, because she most definitely is, but there's an added level of vulnerability to her that isn't typically shown. Although he isn't gifted as much screen time as I'd like, Wilson Fisk is also a standout character in the game. The villain himself exits the story early in grandiose fashion. However, his presence looms as his unfinished construction projects and goons populate the city, reminding you that even when locked away, he is the boss. There's a particular scene involving Fisk that I believe to be the best video game sequence I've ever played. In fact, it's the first demo we saw from the game at E3, where Spider-Man is slowly making his way up a Fisk building, taking down henchmen one by one until Mr. Negative spoils the party. It showcases everything a good scene should: action, emotion, suspense, and even a wink to the audience at the end with the introduction of Miles Morales. Long after the story is complete, you'll find it difficult to swing away from the Big Apple. The amount of post-game content is more than satisfactory, and with the various suits you can unlock, it feels like you get to play as a whole new Spidey every time you change his attire. Like I said earlier, Spider-Man isn't the most original game you'll ever play, but everything that it does to near perfection. With a sequel clearly in the making, the franchise may eventually go down as one of the most solid pieces of work ever made.
Please don't screw this up.
Looking for great seats to all the action? Rogers Super Sports Pack delivers. With NBA League Pass, get up to 40 out-of-market games every week, all season long. More dunks, more slams, more to love, live in HD. NBA League Pass, part of the Rogers Super Sports Pack. All this for only $35.95 a month. Order through your remote on channel 431 or call 1-888-ROGERS-1 today.
This is Oran's key tag. When you use a key tag, you protect your keys. If you lose your keys,
the finder can call the number on the back of the tag
or drop them in any mailbox, and the Walrus will return your keys to you
for free. Order your key tags today at warramps.ca
and make a difference in the lives of amputees like me. Thank you.
And he can lift anything. Anything at all. He's that strong.
Joe Schuster, will you stop it or you'll miss your train? Now help me find number 5.
Strong, but by day he's a mild-mannered reporter. Glasses, a secret identity.
Honestly, you Canadian kids.
He'd be in this cape.
A what?
A cape. Wearing these blue tights.
A hero in tights, really. Here it is.
Listen, Lois, this guy is faster than anything, I swear.
If you're not fast, you're gonna miss your train.
That's it. A bullet. He's faster. No, he's faster than a speeding bullet.
Come on, get on it. No one's gonna read a comic strip about a strong man in tights, Joe. It'll never fly.
Fly, no. But he can leap over tall buildings. Oh, wow, yeah.
See what your cousin Frank says in Toronto.
Wait, Lois. I've got something for you. Here, take it. It's a gift. You never know. It might be worth something someday. Is he great or what? Bye-bye,
Lois. Welcome back to the season finale of Digital Circus. I'm joined by one of the hosts of the Canadian Geekcast, Dennis B. Price.
Yeah, I'm back.
How's it going, Dennis?
I'm back.
You're back. Back in the studio. You got a nice cup that says I was a guest on Copeland Talks, but I don't know if you were ever.
I mean, it's an accomplishment to have now. I can put on.
That you were a guest on Copeland Talks?
I can say it.
Well, you have a mug that says you were a guest on Copeland Talks.
Yeah.
I don't think you should lie to everybody saying that you were a guest, though.
I'm not lying, just stretching the truth.
Stretching the truth. Okay. Maybe we'll cross it out and say Digital Circus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're talking about Spider-Man, of course, the man on my shirt.
Yep.
The man not on your shirt.
No.
What were your initial thoughts when you played the game?
So with Spider-Man games, there's always been this measuring stick for a long time, for me anyway, when it comes to like Spider-Man 2. That for me was always the best Spider-Man game in my opinion. And with this game, Marvel Spider-Man for PS4, this is the best Spider-Man game. This is probably the best Marvel game I ever played. And some, like, you can make a lot of comparisons to Batman Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
Like, in a way that what Arkham Asylum did for DC games and licensed games in a way too. So I really do think this is the best Spider-Man game, because like I've been playing Spider-Man games since the first movie game, and it's always been under Activision, and Activision has always been putting out Spider-Man games that have always been like hit and miss. There's some I like, there's some I dislike, but it feels like this game was made with a purpose, just not to make money, but just to make a really great Spider-Man game.
Yeah, it was almost like a thank you to everybody, and really a love letter to Spider-Man from Insomniac Games. You know, I'm really interested to hear about the story about why this project even happened. I don't know if they've even talked about that. Have you read any articles?
I've heard some interviews that like Marvel came to Insomniac that they wanted them to make their spin on Spider-Man, and like if you like playing the game, it feels like an Insomniac game, because there's a gadget wheel that reminds me of Ratchet and Clank, and there's like mini games that also reminds me of Ratchet and Clank. So it is a Spider-Man game, but it's more so an Insomniac game. But I would say it's like probably the best Insomniac game I've played in a long while.
Yeah, I mean, but they have a really good track record recently. I mean, Ratchet and Clank, the one that they did a few years back, which was kind of like a remake, but based off of the movie, based off the original game. That was fantastic.
It was.
It was amazing. And then they also did Sunset Overdrive as well.
Yeah, they did. That was their like first like debut into doing open world games, and like they used that experience to apply it into Spider-Man for sure. And like even like I've never played an Insomniac game with combat. Like it's always been guns for me, and it's so weird to see them actually do a combat game that is like really freaking good.
Yeah. Did you enjoy the combat in this game? Do you think it was as maybe fluid as something like Batman?
I mean, because I was playing another game that was like very basic combat, and like.
Can I guess what it is?
You can guess.
Was it Yakuza?
It was Yakuza.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
I wasn't gonna mention it.
Yeah, you know what? Let's get it out in the open.
And like, it was kind of a struggle like getting into the combat, but after a while, like you know, like you counter, do the webs, and like it's really fluid. It's. Like in some ways, I think it's better than Arkham Asylum's combat, because like Batman is a very ground-based character, and like with Spider-Man, you go all over the place. You can, you know, like even with Batman, like he like jumps all over the place, and Spider-Man feels very realistic combat-wise when you're fighting on the ground. But then when you uppercut your enemies, it just gets very comic booky, and I love that.
Yeah. I don't know if I liked it as much as Batman, to be honest. And I don't know if that was just because I think initially I really did want this game to be a bit more grounded.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I was playing it, it felt a little too arcadey, a little too cartoony.
Yeah.
I quickly got over that, and I do think the combat is good. I don't think it's as good as it could have been, though.
Yeah, there's definitely aspects of Arkham Asylum that I think are better. To be honest, like Spider-Man's great, but its side activities are kind of an afterthought.
Sure.
They create a fantastic story, beat for beat. It's like. This game doesn't really, it reminds me of Spider-Man 2 the game, but it also reminds me of the story from the movie as well, of a certain character that he has a mentorship, if you could say, and the story is just so good. I love it, man.
Yeah. You know, what did you think of the character interpretations? Because I kind of point this out in my review. I think it's really cool how they respected the source material, but at the same time did step out of the box and try to do something a little different with some of the characters.
Yeah, they definitely poke fun about like the characters designs for the villains like early in the comics. Yeah. And like because there's like a university party like later in the game, and you see all these students dressing up like there was the Rhino, the Vulture, like so cartoony, and then like when you see the actual characters modernized, it's like, wow, that is really impressive, because like Shocker, you know, he has like this star on his costume in the original comics, but in the game he has like this scar that you can see like a star shape.
Yeah.
But his like costume is like so like modernized, so techy, but it kind of stays true to what he was in the comics as well.
Yeah. Now, a little bit of a spoiler alert right here, but they have kind of already shown this footage. The whole Sinister Six part, I think, is really awesome.
Yep.
Because I didn't think they were going to go there, and then, you know, throughout the game, I was like, wow, it would be really great, but I don't think they're going to do that. And then when that actually comes to fruition on that rooftop, and you're like, no, this game is really good. Like, that's when it like really solidifies it. Obviously, that's closer to the end, but still, that moment is just it's jaw-dropping.
Yeah, it is, because like I think I remember hearing an interview from the creative director, and he I think he was saying like they were going to show who the sixth member was, but like he got advice just to cut it, and it kind of works because I think if you're going into this game, you kind of had an idea who that was, but it kind of caught me off guard because I was kind of hoping it wasn't, but.
You thought you were expecting a swerve or something?
I was hoping for something, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, it's going to be Green Goblin, of course. And like this world that Spider-Man's in, he's done it 8 years, but he hasn't confronted his biggest villains. There's no Venom, there's no Green Goblin. When you enter the game, there's no Doc Ock. So it's kind of interesting. I like, even with the game, they definitely set up a sequel.
Oh, for sure, 100%. Yeah. And I mean, it goes without saying, you'd be excited for a second one.
Oh yeah. I'm down, man. Like when I first like saw the first demo at E3 2016, I was like, the quick action events. I was like, don't feel it. And then 2017 was like, you got me. You got me. I'm in. They reeled me in.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, actually, it's kind of the opposite. When I saw the first demo, I was like, wow, that's great. That's awesome. And then when I saw the second one, I wasn't as excited.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I was a little wary going into this game, because I was like, is it going to be what I want? Is it going to be a product of, you know, it's going to be destroyed by the hype that I had? But obviously it wasn't. And it's been a huge success, and that sequel is coming.
Yeah.
It set it up in story-wise, and I think it sold just fine.
It did. Like, it may not be like a game of the year, but it's definitely like my favorite comic book movie in recent years. And because like there's like a DLC coming, so like they're gonna get me more into that, and I'm just excited what's come next for Insomniac, Marvel games in general. I'm in.
Awesome. Well, on that note, will you come back when the new game comes out, like years from now?
Oh, I hope so.
Hopefully.
If you'll have me.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for joining us, Dennis.
Thanks.
On behalf of myself and producer Aaron Miller, thank you for watching Digital Circus Season 1. Remember, game on. Bye!
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Most people living with it don't even know they have it. I'm Alex Lifeson. My family, like many of yours, has dealt with the conditions that cause kidney disease. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or a family member with kidney disease, you are at risk. If you are overweight or over 50, you are at risk. And certain ethnic groups are also at higher risk. Please talk to your family doctor and have your kidney function checked regularly.
This 175-year-old portrait found a home here in early 2015. It contains a man of great relevance to thousands of residents right here in Durham. Bowmanville, previously Darlington Mills, consisted of a handful of settlers and was transformed by the man in that photo, Mr. Charles Bowman. Bowman saw no boundaries within his 300-acre purchase. He, at the helm of commerce and development, also influenced immigration and settlement. For almost a century, local historians searched for this once faceless man.
We found it in the possession of a family in Ottawa.
Until now, for generations, Bowmanville had never seen an image of its namesake and founder.
This is Rogers TV, Durham Region. The opinions expressed in the following program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those